Chapter 927. December in Los Angeles was much colder than last year. The temperature dropped below 10 degrees at night, and it hovered around 15 degrees during the day. Usually, the temperature in Los Angeles was stable all year round. It would always be around 20 degrees, but this year was a bit different. After entering December, the entire city felt like a storm was coming. Of course, it wasn't a bad thing. It was just that the festive atmosphere was getting stronger. Even though there were still 20 days left, everyone became lazy. Everyone was waiting for the arrival of Christmas. The temperature in Mirror Lake had always been stable because of the abundant spiritual chi. The temperature in Mirror Lake was around 20 degrees during the day and wouldn't drop below 10 degrees at night. A few cars drove along the winding path to Mirror Lake. In the car, West warned Payne, Blacklist, and Eric. You have to remember that the president is stingy, very stingy. Everyone looked at West strangely. Saying this in front of so many people, was he really not afraid of death? In the president's house, do whatever he wants you to do. Don't do what he doesn't want you to do. Don't touch what you shouldn't touch. Don't take what you shouldn't take. Not even a leaf. Otherwise, you might have a chance to have intimate contact with the president's pets. Payne, let me borrow your spell. Eric immediately wanted to borrow Payne's druid spell. Everyone looked at Eric even more strangely. Gaia finally couldn't help but remind him, don't think about fighting with Chen's pets. They're all monster level. Some of them might be as strong as their mother. Payne, Blacklist, and Eric's expressions changed again. The others are just relatively weaker, but they're still monster level. I've seen the president's pets, Eric said. Eric said, but look at his pet. Although it's a little bigger, it's still a normal wild animal, right? Do you know about the Irvine incident a month ago? Yes, but I don't know the details. The Irvine incident was caused by something that calls itself Abaddon, Alas said. Abaddon? That Abaddon from the apocalypse? The angel of plague and death. No one knows if it's the real Abaddon, but its strength is terrifying. The entire Irvine was shrouded in the fog of death, and the president's pet also played a crucial role in that battle. Alice said, his snake, Raymond, transformed into a 20-meter-long snake. Doesn't the president have any normal pets? Yes, 2 little bears and 2 little lions. That should be the most normal. If you want to find someone to fight with, they should be the only ones you can beat. No, there's also Samuel. Samuel. The Demon King's name. What was that? What kind of creature is it? The 3 of them shuddered when they heard Samuel's name. Just a little kitten. It should be the weakest, but it's the leader of all the pets, West said. West, you forgot to introduce the president's 3 most special pets, Gaia said. Oh, right. The president's family also has 3 legendary magical beasts. Legend. The 3 of them immediately became serious, and they couldn't help but reveal curious expressions. What legendary magical beasts? Hell's 3-headed hound, Hydra, and fire dragon. Are you kidding? Anyway, the president's house is a huge zoo, West said. West said, I suspect that his pets are actually transformed from some legendary magical beast. Just then, the cars stopped. Everyone from the 3 cars got off. Other than the old members of the association, Adus, who had recovered from his injuries, and the new members who'd just joined the association last time were all here. Chen Zhao was preparing to barbecue. Hearing that the association was coming, he'd already prepared in advance. Hello, come in. Chen's already waiting for you. Fei Lai walked out slowly with a big belly. However, Fei Lai didn't accompany them. She planned to go to the backyard to pick some dead leaves for the grape trees. Some normal varieties of grape trees would lose all their leaves in winter. However, Her grape trees would only have some dead leaves occasionally. After tasting the sweetness, Feilai treasured her grape trees a lot. The people from the association arrived at the front yard. Gaia walked up to help Chen Zhao with the barbecue. "Which one of you doesn't eat spicy food?" Gaia asked. They were here to visit Chen Zhao and relax at the same time. They didn't have any special purpose. Thus, everyone was more relaxed. Payne, Blackies, and Eric were very nervous. What the others had said in the car kept them on tenterhooks. "Klaus, can you get used to the association?" Chen Zhao asked. "Yes," Klaus answered. At first, they weren't used to it. Apart from humans, there were only evil spirits in the association. Moreover, they were evil spirits in groups. The first time they saw an evil spirit, they almost peed their pants. On the other hand, Aduz, an ordinary old guard, gave them a lot of guidance. He also introduced them to a few evil spirits that he could play with. In the past, they wouldn't dare to imagine this. Play with evil spirits. But after some time, they gradually got used to it. Actually, evil spirits were similar to them in some aspects. Fear. Fear of Chen Zhao. In the supernatural organization, Chen Zhao was like a demon king. They gradually understood him. For example, other than being petty, he was also very protective. Aduz had been in the hospital for 20 days. The puppeteer that had attacked and injured him was still locked in the temporary headquarters. Every day, they could hear horrifying screams coming from the dark room. "By the way, where are you guys planning to go for your annual vacation?" Chen Zhao asked. "South Africa," West said. "We're planning to go to Cape Town." "President, are you coming?" "I won't. Feilai's already so big. It's not convenient for her to go far," Chen Zhao said. "You guys have fun." Everyone was speechless. A 3-month belly. Was that big? Feilai could even jump around when she was 8 or 9 months pregnant. "I only have one request. You guys can go and play. Spend the money however you want, but don't cause trouble for me," Chen Zhao said. "I don't want to suddenly get a call from you guys asking me to save you during my Christmas vacation." "President, we're just going for a vacation," West said, unconcerned. "It's not like we're going to do something illegal. That's for the best. Have fun. By the way, where's Princess and the others?" Chapter 9:28. Just then, they saw an unbelievably huge bear approach them with an equally huge crocodile in its mouth. Everyone looked at Princess and then at Panin. Panin's druid transformation spell could also turn him into a bear. But compared to Princess, Panin's bear was like a grandson. "Such a huge crocodile," West said. "How can there be such a huge crocodile in the river in LA? This was Los Angeles, after all." The appearance of such a behemoth in the city's river could cause panic if news got out. Most crocodiles could adapt to freshwater and seawater. If they wandered to a beach, they might attack people. Moreover, they were the largest crocodiles. Some that lived along the coastline could even fight with sharks in the sea. The crocodile before them was at least 6 meters long and almost a ton in weight. It was almost a top-tier predator. Of course, Chen Zhao's family wasn't included. Klaus walked up to the crocodile. Its skull was already shattered. It was still breathing, but it wasn't far from death. After inspecting it, Klaus looked up at Chen Zhao. "President, this is an Australian crocodile. It can't be here. Could it have escaped from the zoo?" Chen Zhao asked. "There are a few crocodiles in the Central Zoo of LA, but the biggest one is only 4 meters. I've never heard of any crocodiles escaping from that zoo. I suspect that someone purposely placed it in the river." Klaus looked at the environment of Mirror Lake. President, the temperature here is a few degrees higher than in the city. It'll make the crocodiles move into the lake. According to my guess, someone wants to harm you. If you or your family swims in the lake, you'll probably be attacked. Everyone's expression changed. The crocodile was huge, but it definitely wasn't a threat to Qinzhao. But what if it was Feilai or Zhurlin? If they were in danger, what would happen to Qinzhao? Qinzhao's expression darkened too. Qinzhao stood up and shouted at the lake, "Amon!" In the water, a huge creature gradually appeared in the distance. When Klaus and the others, as well as Pan and Eric and Hallie saw Amon, they paled in fear. Did anything like a crocodile enter Mirror Lake? No, master. Hearing Amon's answer, Qinzhao heaved a sigh of relief. Keep a close eye on it. Kill any creature that weighs more than 30 kilograms in Mirror Lake. It doesn't matter if it's a human or something else. Also, kill all catfish that weigh more than 30 kilograms in Mirror Lake. Everyone broke out in a cold sweat. Qinzhao was really scary when he was angry. Guild leader, if a normal person has a grudge against you, they wouldn't use such a strange method to harm you. Cause speculated, and to use this method on you, one possibility is that it has something to do with animals. If they could send such a big crocodile to Los Angeles and throw it into the river, it means that they have a very powerful channel. At least, if it were me, I wouldn't be able to do it. At the same time, they don't know you well enough to think that this crocodile can hurt you, which means that your enemy should be an ordinary person. At least, they don't have a clear idea of your strength. When everyone heard Klaus' speculation, they couldn't help but nod in agreement. Guild leader, can you think of someone who would do something like this and be able to do it? Qinzhao thought for a while and said, 7 months ago, when I went hunting with my family in the mountains, we met a group of poachers. They were hunting an albino cougar, but now it belongs to me. It's called Snow White. What about the poachers? They attacked me. Qinzhao didn't continue, but everyone understood what he was talking about. Attacked Qinzhao. Ha, they must be tired of living. But later, I met their boss in New York, Qinzhao said. Then, because of Snow White, their boss deduced that his team's disappearance had something to do with me. Then, I sent their boss to meet God. Right now, the most likely person is related to the poachers, Kaz said. Guild leader, leave this to us. We're the best at this. You're going on vacation soon. Can you make it? There's still 10 days, Kaz said. That's enough. All right then. If you need military support, you can look for our own people. Kaz and his team smiled. They might not be good at exorcism, but they could deal with some criminal groups with their eyes closed. Kaz and his team smiled. They might not be good at exorcism, but they could deal with some criminal groups with their eyes closed. Oh, Qinzhao called. King Kong, bring out 2 boxes of wine. When everyone saw King Kong bring out 2 boxes, Kaz's team, Eric, Payne, and Helis were all curious. Each of you can take a bottle back. I don't have anything else. Just treat it as a Christmas gift. West and the others were experienced. Seeing Qinzhao give them wine, they were all overjoyed. This was a rare opportunity. The other newbies were confused. They didn't understand why West and the others were so happy. It was just wine. Did they have to fight over it like this? They were also picking and choosing, constantly looking at the number plates on the bottom of the bottles. After saying goodbye to Qinzhao, everyone got into their cars and left. Mr. West, is there anything special about the wine? There's nothing special. West glanced at the wine in Kaz's hand. It's not good at all, but it's a gift from the president. We can't reject it. I'll help you get rid of it. Cause dodged West's hand. He didn't believe West's words. Don't listen to him, Gaia said. If you sell it on the market, the cheapest wine from Chin will be $100,000. Take your nameless wine for example. Only Mara's supermarket in Sacramento sells it. It's priced at $66,666, but there's a limited supply every month. That's why each bottle can go up to $200,000 to $300,000 on the black market. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. So expensive. Doesn't that mean the president gave away a few million? Pfft, to the outside world, this wine is very expensive, but Chin brewed it himself. How much can he spend? He even planted the grapes himself. But, how can I bear to drink it? You can sell it. If the president finds out, he'll kill me, right? Chapter 929. President, I've found them. Dead or alive? Chen Zhao asked. Do you want them dead or alive? If it's convenient, keep them alive. Our new headquarters even built a dungeon. It's not good to leave it empty. We have to send something in. Understood. Klaus and his team had done their best. They'd only been in the association for less than a month and had already received a huge gift. His wine was still at home, and some of the others had already taken action. They were overjoyed to sell it for $250,000. It was real money. Klaus felt that the wine would definitely increase in value, so he didn't plan on selling it for now. Plus, they'd just joined the association, so they had to perform. Especially since they were a special group of people. They didn't know magic, so they had to show their worth. Chen Zhao was also impressed by Klaus and his team's training. It had only been less than 2 days, and he had actually found the person. Chen Zhao didn't know Klaus and his team well. In the past, they'd always fought with terrorists. This time, they were looking for a group of poachers. It wasn't difficult at all. Chen Zhao found them almost effortlessly. Now that they'd caught them, Chen Zhao was in a good mood again. However, he planned on setting up some things in his territory. He didn't want his enemies to think about it and cause the people around him to get into trouble for no reason. Chen, I'll take Jerlin to the supermarket. You want to come? Woof, woof. Before Chen Zhao could reply, Black Ma and White Ma ran over excitedly. Do you guys still want to go? Fei Lai ignored Chen Zhao's reply and asked the other pets. Princess walked slowly to Fei Lai, followed by Walter. Darling, don't just stay at home, Fei Lai said to Chen Zhao before leaving. Go for a walk or find Mr. Stephen and the others for a drink. Because it was close to Christmas, Chen Zhao's business had decreased a lot. In the past 10 days, Chen Zhao hadn't gone out at all. Fei Lai was afraid that Chen Zhao would be too free. Chen Zhao was too lazy to go out. He'd rather stay at home. Oh, since it was almost Christmas, he should give the association a red packet. For foreigners, Christmas was like Chinese New Year. Let's give everyone a red packet then. Then, he remembered that Felwood Cisco and his engineering team were still in the headquarters. He couldn't forget about them. Mr. Felwood, can I ask you something? What is it? Mr. Chin. I would like to ask, how many people are helping me with the construction? Mr. Chin, is there something wrong with my construction team? No, I'm just asking. A total of 45 people, Mr. Chin. They are all professionals. I believe in their professionalism. They won't be lazy or violate the construction agreement. Is it accurate? Chen Zhao asked. Yes, if you don't believe me, I can give you the name list of our construction team. There's no need for that. You guys go ahead. With that, he hung up. Felwood Cisco, on the other hand, was filled with worry. Chen Zhao's sudden call made it impossible for him to calm down. What did Chen Zhao's call mean? Felwood Cisco thought about it anxiously for more than 2 hours, but he still felt uneasy. Hey, Tammy, gather all the construction team leaders for a meeting. Soon, all the project leaders were in front of Felwood Cisco. Did your people do anything illegal in the past 2 days? Boss, they're all honest. Apart from one who asked for leave, I didn't find anything illegal. Felwood Cisco thought for a long time and realized that there was nothing wrong. Did any construction materials go missing at the construction site? Boss, did you find some theft? The foreman thought that there had been a theft at the construction site. Although America was a developed country, the unemployment rate was extremely high. Especially for low-skilled workers like them, they could be easily replaced. For an American, unemployment often means despair. One shouldn't think that everything would be fine just because they had unemployment insurance. Unemployment insurance couldn't satisfy their credit card payments. Once they lost their jobs, they would lose their houses, cars, and even their families. There were so many homeless people in America. Many of them even had extremely high academic qualifications. Just because they lost their jobs once, they lost everything and were unable to recover from it. Therefore, when they heard that there had been a theft at the construction site, they all became nervous. The biggest problem at a construction site wasn't death, but theft. Just then, there was a hurried knock on the door of the simple meeting room. Boss, Mr. Chen is here, a worker said hurriedly. Everyone was terrified. They thought that Chen Zhao was here to get even with them. Felwood Cisco's mind also went blank. Come with me to see Mr. Chen. When Felwood Cisco and his men saw Chen Zhao walk over, they looked troubled. Chen Zhao walked up and gave Felwood a big red packet. This is for you, Mr. Chen. This, Felwood thought that it was a lawyer's letter. You have a share too. Come. Chen Zhao glanced past Felwood and gave each person behind him a red packet. This much money. A foreman opened the red packet. Mr. Chen, what does this mean? Felwood also opened the red packet. It was a brand new stack of bills. They were all $100 bills. It should be $20,000. Mr. Chen. We Chinese have the tradition of giving red packets during Chinese New Year. Usually, we give them to our juniors or subordinates, but we give them during Chinese New Year. You Americans don't have Chinese New Year, so I'll give them to you before Christmas, Chen Zhao said. I just asked you about the number of people in your team. I'm afraid that some people won't have enough if you give 2 little red packets. Felwood's tears almost fell out. He was almost scared to tears by Chen Zhao's call. Can you call all your people over? I want to give them the red packets personally. Go, hurry up and call someone, Felwood immediately shouted. Hearing that there was money, the construction workers immediately came to line up. Chen Zhao personally gave the red packets to the construction workers one by one. Felwood looked at Chen Zhao. In just a short while, he'd already given out $200,000 to $300,000. There was $20,000 in his red packet, $10,000 for the other foreman, and $5,000 for the regular construction workers. Mr. Chen, I'll get the construction team to finish the house as soon as possible. Don't worry. I gave all my subordinates a long holiday. They're going to Cape Town to play in a few days. Even if you finish the house, it'll be empty. You just have to finish the house according to the contract. Felwood sighed at Chen Zhao's generosity again. Just then, a Native American worker ran over. Mr. Chen, this is the custom of our Walla tribe. To show respect, you have to offer our tribe's totem, Azu. Please accept it. Chapter 930. It was quite an interesting handicraft. What beast's tooth was this? Chen Zhao wasn't a zoologist and couldn't tell. But it probably wasn't from an animal he already had. Chen Zhao knew his pet's teeth well. Judging from its size, it was about the same size as Princess. But it was slightly flatter and longer. Chen Zhao put the so-called totem into his pocket. Every civilization and culture had their own customs and habits. You shouldn't offend them even if you didn't understand them. You could dislike gifts from others, but you should at least respect their kindness. On the way home, Chen Zhao took out the totem and looked at it again. The totem gave Chen Zhao a strange feeling. It was an inexplicable feeling. He couldn't tell what was going on. It wasn't like the totem had any aura or anything like that. It was just a strange feeling. Chen Zhao thought about it and hung the totem on the rearview mirror. This was a habit of Chinese people. They would always hang some health and safety amulets on their cars. Just then, two cars suddenly stopped by the side of the road. Chen Zhao felt like the two cars had purposely touched each other. Then the people in the cars got out. Chen Zhao saw that one of them was familiar. It was James. The other was a woman. She seemed to be around James' age. But she still looked pretty. The two started arguing on the side of the road. Chen Zhao also parked his car and watched them argue. Okay, Chen Zhao was bored enough. Chen Zhao wanted to see what they were arguing about. The woman started grabbing James. James kept holding the stick. Do you think you're something now that you're the director? The woman's voice was very loud. You're still useless. You'll make crappy movies that lose money. You're useless. You'll be blacklisted by the film company and then you'll go back to being useless. Chen Zhao took out his phone to record. The woman suddenly noticed the car parked behind. Then she looked at Chen Zhao, who was filming with his phone. She immediately turned around and slammed her fist on the hood of Chen Zhao's car. She was quite strong. The front cover of Chen Zhao's truck was dented. Get out! How dare you film me? Which news agency are you from? I'll get your boss to fire you. Chen Zhao opened the door and got out. When James saw Chen Zhao, he immediately grabbed the woman. Mr. Chen, why are you here? Well, James. You purposely found a newspaper reporter to trick me, didn't you? Hand over your phone. Quickly hand it over. Ignoring the unreasonable woman, Chen Zhao looked at James. Who is she? A celebrity. Don't play dumb with me. Hand over your phone. Otherwise, delete what you recorded. Otherwise, I won't let you off. Sarah, stop. He's not someone you can offend. If you offend him, you'll be banned by Hollywood in the future. Although James quarreled fiercely with this woman, it seemed that he still cared about her quite a bit. Bullshit. I've acted in a few blockbusters. Why would I be afraid of a guy driving a broken truck? Sarah looked at Chen Zhao in disdain. Mr. Chen, I'm sorry. Sarah hasn't been in a good mental state recently. I apologize on her behalf. James, you're getting worse and worse. Look at you now. You can suck up to anyone. Sarah's face was full of disdain. You deserve to never be successful. Sarah looked at Chen Zhao. Kid, I'll remember your license plate. If I see my photo in any tabloid tomorrow, I'll break your legs. Chen Zhao shuddered and watched as Salad swaggered off after flaunting his strength. Who's that woman? Chen Zhao asked curiously. My ex-wife, James said. Mr. Chen, she didn't mean to say those things. Please forgive her. I can't be bothered to argue with her. Chen Zhao glanced at James. You still have feelings for her. My daughter belongs to her. James's expression was ugly. How did you two start fighting? She wants to act in Steven's movie, so she came to me, James said. I don't have any say in Steven's movie. Even if I did, I wouldn't introduce her. Is she a celebrity too? In order to get a higher position, she got together with a director in the industry and acted in some movies with him. She's a bit famous now. Married? Chen Zhao was surprised. James did this too. He often used small roles to attract actresses. He didn't expect that he'd been cuckolded too. James nodded with an ugly expression. Thankfully, Chen Zhao didn't continue asking. After all, it was really disgraceful. Who's that director? I'll go smash his window and help you vent. That director left the industry long ago. His box office failed miserably and caused huge losses for the film company. There's no more movies for him, so Sarah cut ties with him. She doesn't have any representative works, so there's nothing for her to do in the industry. James and Chen Zhao sat on the hood of the car and chatted. My movie will also be released on Christmas. I'm afraid I'll be like that director. James's expression suddenly turned serious. Don't worry. You'll succeed. Chen Zhao patted James' shoulder. James wasn't Steven. Even Steven had almost broken down in that situation. James's pressure was even greater. Steven's failure would affect his reputation and prestige, but it wouldn't be fatal. But James was fatal. If a new director couldn't prove his commercial ability in his first commercial film and suffered losses, he'd be blacklisted by all the major film companies. From then on, he wouldn't have the chance to be the main director or direct his own movie. He could only go back to being Steven's assistant director. Every director hoped to direct their own movie, not be someone else's assistant director, even if that person was Steven. Your movie will be released so soon. Small budget movies are all like this. After filming, they'll have around 2 months to promote it and then it'll be released directly. There aren't many resources. Even Steven couldn't avoid it, let alone me. But I don't have Mr. Steven's ability. Mr. Steven can make a small budget movie into a legend. I can't do it. James had fantasized about it, but he knew his own ability. The movie hasn't even been released yet. Do you have to be so pessimistic? Chapter 931. Chen Zhao was like a trash can, and James was there to pour out his trash feelings. Chen Zhao realized that this feeling was familiar. Steven seemed to be like this too. Chen, sorry to disturb you for so long. Smiling, Chen Zhao shook his head. It's fine. If you're annoyed, come to my place and drink with me. I'll go back now. I'll visit you after I'm done. Chen Zhao hugged James. Don't think too much. Relax. Watching James leave, Chen Zhao received a call from his mother. Chen Zhao, do you have time? Come to my place. Chen Zhao guessed that his mother missed Jerlin. Although Chen Zhao and his mother were distant, he didn't object. Nevertheless, he didn't object to his mother interacting with Jerlin. No matter what their relationship was, his mother was still Jerlin's grandmother. Plus, Chen Zhao felt that it was something to be happy about having another person to love Jerlin. Mom, I'll bring Jerlin over tomorrow. Okay, his mother answered almost immediately. The next day, Chen Zhao brought Jerlin to his mother's place. Hearing that Chen Zhao and Jerlin were coming, Yura waited at the door. When she saw Chen Zhao and Jerlin's car, she immediately went up to hug Jerlin. Jerlin still remembered Yura. Once she was in her arms, she immediately kissed Yura's face. Brother, look, Jerlin still remembers me. Chen Zhao took out a red packet. This is for you. Yura thought that it was money. Her mother used to give her red packets during Chinese New Year too. Yura poured it out. It was a gold coin with a red string on it. Brother, what's this for? It's for safety, Chen Zhao said. Where's Mom? In the living room. Yura brought Chen Zhao there. Chen Zhao realized that Chen Ku was there too. However, the two just nodded. Yura, give me Jerlin. His mother couldn't wait to snatch Jerlin away. Chen Zhao, what can Jerlin eat now? Other than milk powder, she also eats some soft food, Chen Zhao said. How old is she? You're already giving her soft food. I plan to stop breastfeeding her in 2 months, Chen Zhao said. So let her touch other food now. Otherwise, she won't be able to stop breastfeeding. Weaning is very painful, for both adults and children. Why don't I help little Jerlin wean? I have experience. His mother looked at him expectantly. Plus, Feilai's pregnant too. It'll affect her. Chen Zhao shook his head. No need. I want to wean Jerlin myself. Weaning a child was also an experience for Chen Zhao, an experience that he couldn't miss. Weaning a child was also a stage of growth for the child. Generally speaking, children would be weaned around the age of 1. At this time, the digestive ability of the child's stomach had already improved and could digest more complex foods. However, Chen Zhao had observed Jerlin and her papa. Some children who developed faster could be weaned earlier. After weaning, the child could obtain more comprehensive nutrition through the food he ate. His mother's face showed obvious disappointment. Of course, the child was Chen Zhao's, so he had the final say. As a mother herself, she could understand what he was thinking. The way she interacted with Chen Zhao had always been to treat each other with respect. Although the phrase, treat each other with respect, was used to describe husband and wife. In reality, their relationship was just like that. They respected each other but didn't interfere with each other's lives too much. Oh, Chen Zhao, this is my red packet for Jerlin. Chen Zhao took the red packet and opened it. It was a share transfer contract. Chen Zhao only glanced at it and then frowned. Mom, take this back. Chen Zhao, this is for Jerlin. It's not Chinese New Year or Jerlin's birthday. Chen Zhao was very determined. His mother's expression darkened. The shares belong to Yura, Chen Zhao said. Jerlin doesn't have the right to own them. Brother, can't I give it to Jerlin? No, Chen Zhao rejected immediately. His mother quickly regained her composure. Okay, I didn't think it through. Oh, Chen Zhao, I heard that you have a lot of connections in Hollywood. Your cousin is also an actress. If you have a way, introduce Chen Ku to some departments. His mother changed the topic. Actually, I don't have many connections. I'm just a health consultant for a director. His mother didn't know, because Chen Ku had told her everything she knew. But Chen Ku wouldn't really believe Chen Zhao. She'd seen Chen Zhao's relationship with Steven and James. No matter how Chen Zhao messed around on James's set, James always let it go. Also, the chairman of PLM Film Company and Steven were fighting to be Jerlin's godfather. It clearly wasn't as simple as knowing each other. Auntie, don't make things difficult for cousin. If Chen Zhao wasn't willing to help, she obviously wouldn't give him the cold shoulder. Chen Zhao and his mother were very different, and he was even more indifferent to Chen Ku. If they met on the street, he might not even greet Chen Ku. Oh, have you thought about Jerlin's Chinese name? I have a few choices. Do you want to think about them? His mother asked. I plan to give Jerlin's Chinese name when she's 1 year old. Oh, I see. That's good. Some families would give their children a nickname first and then a real name when they were 1 year old. The Qin family also had this custom. Chen Zhao felt that Jerlin was just a nickname. He would give her a real name when she was 1 year old. His mother was also helpless about this. Chen Zhao had separated Zhirlin's growth from her grandmother. But she couldn't do anything about it. Chen Zhao's relationship with her was already very faint. Their relationship had always been more intimate than that of a stranger. What do you and Fei Lai plan to do for Christmas? His mother asked. I haven't decided yet. His mother had wanted to invite Chen Zhao's family over for Christmas. But Chen Zhao had rejected her a few times before, so she didn't think it was possible to invite him. Actually, Chen Zhao planned to have a party on Christmas Eve and invite his friends in LA. Christmas would be for the two of them. He'd also arrange some programs. As for the pets at home, apart from Snow White, which was a pure wild animal, the others all had demon blood in them. How could they be interested in Christmas? They wouldn't be letting Chen Zhao down if they didn't cause trouble on Christmas. Oh, Mom, this is the wine I brought. Fei Lai and I brewed it ourselves. Chen Zhao took out his gift. Nameless wine. You and Fei Lai brewed it. His mother immediately recognized the bottle when she saw it. Chapter 932. Auntie, is this wine famous? It wasn't just famous. It had become a standard at parties in the upper class. His mother also had 2 bottles. She'd bought them from the black market. She'd also sent people to Mara's supermarket to keep a close eye on it and buy it every month when it was on the shelves. But the result was the same. She couldn't get it at all. There were too many rich people who thought the same as her. Moreover, Mara's supermarket didn't have a fixed time every month. It could be the beginning of the month or the end of the month. In order to buy the wine, they'd even started a spy war. They'd bribed the supermarket's employees, executives, and even the buyers and transporters. Some even wanted to know the source of the wine. Unfortunately, they'd all returned empty-handed. In Mara's supermarket, the source of the wine was the biggest secret. Even the executives didn't know where the real source came from. They didn't expect the wine to be made by their son. Chen Zhao stayed at his mother's house for half a day. He mainly wanted his mother to spend more time with Zhirlin. After all, he rarely came over. His mother also rarely went to his house. Every time, she'd use the excuse of sending Yura to his house and then spend some time with Zhirlin. Before leaving, his mother was very reluctant. It was like they were going to part forever. When Chen Zhao walked out of his mother's house, he received a call from Fei Lai. Chen, where are you now? On my way home. Don't come back. Go line up at Marina's in Beverly Hills. I'll go there now. Is that restaurant famous? Can't you just call and reserve a place? Marina's doesn't accept phone reservations. You can only line up. Even celebrities have to line up there. Okay. When Chen Zhao found Marina's, he realized that there was indeed a long line. Of course, many customers didn't line up in person. They had their assistants or bodyguards line up. It was rare for Chen Zhao to line up with a child. Just then, a couple walked over from Chen Zhao's side. The woman was James' ex-wife, Sarah. She had a mustached man in his 60s. When Sarah saw Chen Zhao, she glanced at him from the corner of her eyes. Seriously, why does everyone come here to eat? It's disgusting. Sarah looked at Chen Zhao. The man stroked his mustache. From Sarah's tone, it seemed like she had a grudge against this Asian. Hey, this isn't a place you should be, the man with the mustache said. Everyone's gaze fell on the 3 of them. A few of them looked at the man with the mustache in awe. However, Chen Zhao didn't know this guy at all. I like being here. What's it to you? This is Marina Restaurant. We only serve celebrities here, the mustache man said. A third-rate director's follower dares to line up here. Sarah looked at him in disdain. Clearly, she thought that James was her follower. She also checked the news about herself today, but she didn't find any negative news. So Sarah felt that her warning had worked. James, the director of Animal Mart that was released at the same time as my movie during the Christmas slot. That's right, it's him. But how can his Animal Mart compare to your God of War? The smile on Sonnenfeld's face widened when he heard Salad's words. It was every commercial director's dream to direct a super blockbuster. Moreover, DSN had already conducted a private screening of God of War and had professional critics evaluate it. All of them gave high ratings. The test screenings in a small area were also very good, and all of them gave very good reviews. Sonnenfeld believed that after God of War was released, he could become a first-rate director. Go back and tell James to prepare for a box office failure, Sonnenfeld said provocatively. At the same time, he stuffed a $10 bill into Qin Zhao's pocket. Then he patted Qin Zhao's chest. Also, this is your compensation after you lose your job. Otherwise, you won't even have money for your daughter's milk powder. With that, Sonnenfeld and Salad went to the counter at the entrance. I don't want to eat with a lowly person and chase him away. With that, the two entered the restaurant without even waiting in line. Then the waiter walked up to Qin Zhao. Sir, I'm sorry. Our restaurant doesn't accept you. Please leave. Why? Our restaurant has our rules. We don't accept people who don't dress properly. Also, we don't accept babies. It'll affect other customers' mood. I've been standing here for half an hour. Why didn't you say so earlier? Qin Zhao was a bit annoyed. You've been standing here for half an hour. You've seriously affected our business. I didn't warn you because I wanted you to leave on your own. Now that a customer has complained, please leave immediately. What if I don't leave? Then I'll have to call security, the waiter said. Got it. Qin Zhao carried Jerlin and left with a dark expression. Downstairs, he met Fei Lai. Chen, aren't you going to line up upstairs? Fei Lai was dressed very beautifully today. She even wore the dress that Triss had designed for her. Even with her 3-month-old belly, it couldn't hide her beauty. Qin Zhao chuckled. I've already asked people to line up upstairs, but there are a lot of people. Just wait here. Qin Zhao had Fei Lai sit on a chair downstairs. I'll go buy a bottle of water. Do you want something to drink? No need. Leaving Jerlin beside Fei Lai, Qin Zhao walked to the side and took out his phone. He dialed Yamala's number. Merry Christmas, Miss Yamala. Hi, Mr. Qin. There's still 10 days until Christmas. Isn't it too early for you to give your blessings? Amira knew Qin Zhao's temper very well. He wouldn't call her if he didn't have something to say. Mr. Qin, what do you want? Please tell me directly. I want to ask you how to buy a restaurant quickly. How quickly? Half an hour at most, Qin Zhao said. Which restaurant? Marina's restaurant in Beverly Hills. Do you know it? Yes, Amira answered. It's the property of the famous movie star, Nafa Twain. I want to know if you have any ideas. It's hard, Amira said. Miss Amira, I can help you with something. Even if you offend the Demon King, I can help you solve your problem, Qin Zhao said. Anything. Chapter 933. Qin Zhao hadn't been humiliated like this in a long time. Even Jerlin had been humiliated like this. Qin Zhao hated this feeling. He was never someone who knew how to hide his emotions. If he lost something, he'd get it back. Half an hour later, a car stopped before Qin Zhao. An older man alighted from the car. Hello, are you Mr. Qin? I'm Nafa Twain. Hello, Mr. Nafa. Call me Twain. Nafa Twain didn't become a A-list celebrity by putting on airs. He knew the importance of connections. Since Chen Zhao could invite Amira, it meant that his background wasn't weak. Of course, he was a A-list celebrity, an international superstar in Hollywood. If it was just Amira, he wouldn't have compromised. His relationship with Amira was more of an exchange of benefits. Compared to the exchange of interests between him and Amira, a restaurant was obviously not worth mentioning. Mr. Chen, my suggestion is to transfer 60% of the restaurant's shares to you. I'll keep 40%. Trust me, this is the best choice for the restaurant, Nafa Twain said. You don't mind if I use your name to earn money? Chen Zhao asked, smiling. If I can have a friend like Mr. Chen, I think it's worth it. Nafa Twain was good with words. At least, Chen Zhao felt comfortable with Nafa's attitude. I'll go with you, Nafa Twain said. I can announce this to the restaurant staff. Okay, my girlfriend is still sitting there. Nafa Twain followed beside Chen Zhao. When he saw Fei Lai, his words were also appropriate. Is that beautiful lady your girlfriend? Fei Lai was surprised to see Nafa Twain beside Chen Zhao. Unlike Chen Zhao, who didn't care about what was happening around him, she still paid some attention to Hollywood. That was why she recognized Nafa Twain at first glance. Hello, beautiful lady. I'm Mr. Chen's friend. Nafa Twain smiled and shook hands with Fei Lai. Hello. Fei Lai didn't understand why Chen Zhao would invite Nafa Twain. However, Nafa definitely wasn't Chen Zhao's friend. At least, they weren't close. She basically knew all of Chen Zhao's friends and had a good relationship with them. Moreover, Chen Zhao's friends wouldn't call him Mr. when they called him. Mr. Chen heard that Miss Fei Lai likes my restaurant, so he bought shares from me. Miss Fei Lai can come to my restaurant whenever you want. Fei Lai looked at Chen Zhao in disbelief. But more than that, she was touched. She didn't think that Chen Zhao would buy the restaurant just because of what she said. Fei Lai, sorry for making you wait so long. I'm fine. The three of them went into the restaurant. When the waiter at the door saw Chen Zhao, he wanted to humiliate him again. However, when he saw Nafa Twain beside Chen Zhao, the waiter's expression changed. Panic appeared on his face. Willie, are there any empty rooms? Nafa Twain asked as he walked to the service counter. Yes, sir. Mr. Chen, Miss Fei Lai, let's go in. When Chen Zhao reached the door, he paused and looked at the waiter. Oh, you're Willie, right? There was a meaningful smile on Chen Zhao's face. Willie's expression turned fearful. Willie, this is Mr. Chen. He'll be the biggest shareholder of the restaurant in the future. When you see Mr. Chen and Miss Fei Lai, you have to respect them like you respect me. Biggest shareholder. Willie's expression turned very ugly. His smile also froze. The three chatted happily as they entered the restaurant and the room. The room was by the window. The huge floor-to-ceiling glass wall allowed them to see the night view of the entire Beverly Hills. The decorations inside were also very exquisite. Mr. Chen, I won't disturb you and Miss Fei Lai anymore. Goodbye. A while later, the waiter came in to take their orders. After ordering, Chen Zhao stood up. Fei Lai, I'm going to the bathroom. Then he walked out of the restaurant and looked around. The restaurant's business was quite good. Chen Zhao had spent $8 million to buy 60% of the shares. It was quite worth it. Marina restaurants' per capita spending was around $6,000. The business hours were only 5 to 10 in the evening, and they were only open for 5 hours. The night's turnover was around $300,000. After deducting the cost, the net income was around $50,000. It would take around a year to recoup the cost. Normally, Nafa Twain wouldn't sell a golden chicken that could lay eggs. Chen Zhao didn't know what price Amira had paid, but he'd also paid a price. Although it was the result of being impulsive, Chen Zhao felt that it wasn't a loss. After all, 60% of the golden chicken's shares belonged to him now. When Chen Zhao walked to the intersection, a waiter walked over. "Sir, is there anything I can help you with?" The waiter already knew that Chen Zhao was the biggest shareholder of the restaurant, so he was very respectful to him. "Do you know which table Mr. Sonnenfeld is eating at?" Chen Zhao asked. "Yes, sir." "Take me there." The waiter brought Chen Zhao to Sonnenfeld and Fei Lai's table. The two had been having a pleasant dinner together, but Chen Zhao, an uninvited guest, appeared before them. "Why are you here? Damn it. How can you enter such a high-class place?" Sonnenfeld looked at Chen Zhao in dissatisfaction. Chen Zhao looked at Sonnenfeld with a smile. In his hand was the $10 that Sonnenfeld had given him. "Mr. Sonnenfeld, thank you for the $10. I'll take good care of it." "I'll always remember what you said to me," Chen Zhao said with a smile. "Mr. Sonnenfeld, I'll take good care of it." With that, Chen Zhao turned and left. Both Sonnenfeld and Fei Lai were very unhappy with Chen Zhao's words. Everyone could tell that Chen Zhao was declaring war on them. "Waiter, why is he here?" Sonnenfeld asked, annoyed. "Mr. Sonnenfeld, he just became the biggest shareholder of Marina Restaurant." "What? How is that possible? So many people in Hollywood want to buy this restaurant." Nafa Twain never agreed. Why would he sell it to a random Asian? Chapter 934. "Chen, did you see someone you know?" Did you see her?" "I saw you walk to the table in the corner," Fei Lai said. "Yes, James's ex-wife," Chen Zhao said. "So I went over to say hi." Fei Lai knew Chen Zhao too well. He definitely wouldn't greet his friend's ex-wife. There were only two possibilities for him to go over. One was a friend, and the other was an enemy. "Fei Lai, do you like the smell here?" "Yes, it's really good." Chen Zhao also thought that it was good, but it wasn't to the point where he had to come. In fact, the underlings in their house might not be much worse than the chefs here. However, the environment here was indeed very good. It was nice to eat here once in a while. Jerlin was already asleep in the cradle. Marina's restaurant provided many services, such as the cradle. Actually, most famous restaurants didn't just provide food to their customers. They also provided other additional services. It was already late when they got home, but Fei Lai didn't plan on sleeping yet. She swam in Mirror Lake with Chen Zhao. Actually, the water temperature was still a bit low for Fei Lai. However, an appropriate low water temperature was good for the body's blood circulation. When the body felt low temperature, it would speed up the blood flow to increase the body's temperature. It was also good for the fetus in the body. "Fei Lai, can I ask you a question?" "What?" "I have a friend with a really high status," Chen Zhao said. "He really doesn't like Christmas. I don't know if I should give him a present for Christmas." "Like Steven. You can't imagine him as a president, right?" Chen Zhao said. "I see." Fei Lai thought about it. "Then why are you considering giving him a present?" "Because I think that since I've prepared a present for all my friends, I'll feel sorry if I don't give him one. I don't want to treat any friend differently." "Then give it." "But he doesn't like Christmas." "You're not giving him a present because he's your friend," Fei Lai replied. "That's true." Chen Zhao nodded. "But what should I give him?" Chen Zhao was troubled. "It's fine as long as it's a thoughtful gift," Fei Lai said. "Just like other friends, it doesn't have to be expensive or match his status." Fei Lai thought for Chen Zhao too. The two came out of the lake and entered the living room. Fei Lai saw the zither in the living room. Oh, play a song for your friend. But I won't. There are still a few days before Christmas. You can use these days to practice a song. Thinking about it, Chen Zhao realized that he was asking for trouble by asking Fei Lai this question. However, since Fei Lai had already said that, Chen Zhao felt that he would feel sorry if he didn't give that friend a song. Alright, I'll take advantage of these few days to practice a song. He took out the music sheet that the music shop owner had given him in Montreal. The first page of the score was a limerick. His fourth finger is firmly planted, and his fourth finger is suspended. The hook and the sheath lightly strummed the string. One must know that the left hand has no other choice. Pressing and rubbing leisurely. The traditional playing technique was to use the big, index, middle, and ring fingers of the right hand to pluck the strings to play the melody and grasp the rhythm. The left hand playing method was to adjust the tension of the strings and control the changes of the strings to adjust the pitch and perfect the melody. There were many finger techniques for the zither. The right hand had hook, hold, chop, pick, wipe, pick, hit, shake, pinch, and so on. The left hand had press, slide, rub, and vibrate. The traditional playing techniques of the zither had a new breakthrough in modern times. In 1953, Mr. Zhao Yuzhai created Harvest Year. He freed his left hand and used polyphonic techniques. He used alternating left and right hands and multipart playing techniques. This greatly enriched the playing techniques and led to a breakthrough in the development of the zither. Han Bao didn't know how to play the zither. This was the information he found after searching. It's not for the number of words. Fei Lai realized that Chen Zhao was quite hardworking. After he started practicing, he immersed himself in the zither. Fei Lai couldn't take it anymore and went to sleep. Chen Zhao was still practicing. After Fei Lai went to rest, Chen Zhao ran to the river map to practice. In the river map, Chen Zhao had more time to learn and practice. He wouldn't disturb Fei Lai either. Ha! Where did you get the spiritual artifact? Old Turtle asked in surprise when he saw Chen Zhao walk in with the zither. Spiritual artifact. Don't you know? The zither was also a weapon in ancient times. There's also a saying that the zither is music and becomes a weapon on the spot. And then, using the zither to beat people. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. You're right. It's for beating people. The ancient people's brains are a bit weird, Chen Zhao said. But what do you think this spiritual artifact is? For ordinary people in ancient times, the zither was used to beat people, but its pitch was like a weapon. It was sharper than other weapons, so some cultivators made it into a weapon for fighting. Can I kill people with music like in the movies? Chen Zhao's interest was immediately piqued. No. Old Turtle poured a bucket of cold water on Chen Zhao without hesitation. If you have enough cultivation, you can kill people with any musical instrument. If you don't, even if you have a loudspeaker, you won't be able to kill people with music. So what's this thing used for? To put it bluntly, this spirit artifact uses music to control weapons. How? Chen Zhao asked curiously. Here, I'll show you. Old Turtle took the zither and placed it before him. At the same time, he pointed with his finger. The pebble before him melted into lava. Under Old Turtle's control, the lava turned into 12 stone swords. Clang, clang, Old Turtle plucked the zither with his fingertip. The strings produced a sonorous sound. The 12 stone swords shook instantly. Chen Zhao raised an eyebrow. Old Turtle continued playing. The 12 stone swords started hacking and slashing around Old Turtle. It was as if there were 12 swordsmen wielding the stone swords and waving them around. Let me try too, Chen Zhao said impatiently. Old Turtle moved to let Chen Zhao sit. Chen Zhao tried to play, but the 12 stone swords stood there, unmoving. What's going on? Why isn't there a reaction? When you play, you need to pour in spiritual power and combine your willpower with the music. It's like you're controlling the swords with your hands. Chen Zhao tried again, his eyes fixed on the 12 stone swords. The 12 stone swords moved slightly, but they couldn't fly freely like Old Turtle. It still doesn't work, Chen Zhao complained. Old Turtle looked at Chen Zhao's posture and knew that he was new. You can't even play a song now and you want to control weapons? You're dreaming. It's just practice. Anyway, Chen Zhao was here to practice. Chen Zhao spent 3 days and could barely play a song. However, it was very simple. It was 2 tigers. How is it? Did I improve a lot? Chapter 935. Get up, get up. Are you singing or playing the zither? Old Turtle watched as Chen Zhao played 2 tigers and yelled. He was speechless. A sword flew up slowly, but it soon fell to the ground. Why is there no strength at all? Even if I control the sword to fly, I can't fight, right? First, since you're using music to control the weapon, you have to choose a strong and domineering style. Second, your willpower isn't compatible with the music. When your willpower is completely compatible with the music, it's like you're using the stone sword with both hands, Old Turtle said. Simply put, you lack practice. Practice more. This was what Old Turtle said the most. Chen Zhao also knew his weakness. After all, he was a beginner at the zither. He only knew the song, 2 Tigers. Not to mention that this song was not suitable for controlling weapons. Even if it was, Chen Zhao wouldn't use it to control weapons. Chen Zhao took out the music score. Apart from the basic fingering, there were only 3 songs left in the score. Fierce East Wind, Rising Waves, and Jackdaw Playing with Water. Chen Zhao had only heard of jackdaw frolicking in the water. In fact, most people would be familiar with Jackdaw Playing with Water. Because many classical movies and TV series used this song as background music. Jackdaw Playing with Water is interesting, Old Turtle said. How is it interesting? There's a cold sword technique hidden here, Old Turtle said. Old Turtle said, it's different from strong east wind and billowing waves. Both of them open and close aggressively, but Jackdaw Playing with Water is more repetitive. I don't understand. Do you know the story behind Jackdaw Playing with Water? No. The cold here refers to loneliness, the crow refers to inferiority, and playing with water refers to self-entertainment. It started in the early Qing dynasty. The scholars who submitted to the Qing dynasty were afraid of being punished by the Manchus, so they lived aimlessly. They didn't dare to talk when they saw each other or stop when they walked, afraid that they'd be killed. How come you know so much in the river map? This is the benefit of living for a long time. This song is different from the version I know. There is a cold killing intent hidden in it. Most likely, the cultivators who fought against the Qing dynasty and restored the Ming dynasty at that time integrated their thoughts and divine thoughts into it, resulting in this version. Chen Zhao started practicing day and night. After more than 10 days, he could barely play Fierce East Wind. In these 10 days, Chen Zhao only practiced the zither. He didn't try to control the stone sword. According to Old Turtle, if you wanted to control a weapon, you had to play the zither well first. It was like a toddler learning how to walk and wanting to run a track before he could even stand steadily. In fact, as long as one mastered the basic fingering and playing techniques, the rest was a matter of proficiency. For example, in movies and TV dramas, it was very difficult to play a song perfectly just by looking at the score. At least, Chen Zhao couldn't do it. He could still understand the basic melody and play it roughly. After about 100 days, Chen Zhao learned 3 songs. Now try to integrate your spiritual energy and your willpower. Looking at the 12 stone swords before him, Chen Zhao started playing Fierce East Wind. Just like its name, Fierce East Wind's melody was fast and fierce, like a raging wind. The 12 stone swords flew into the air, but when they collided with each other, metal sparks flew. Attack me! Chen Zhao's fingers moved even faster. The melody suddenly became as fierce as a storm. Chen Zhao gradually found the feeling. He kept sending out spiritual energy and releasing it with the melody. The 12 stone swords flew toward Old Turtle. Hack, slash, stab, pick, slash, hook. It was like 12 Chen Zhaos were controlling the stone swords. Old Turtle was Chen Zhao's training partner. Each sword had endless power, as if Chen Zhao was attacking with all his strength. Let's change to Rising Waves. The zither's melody changed. Rising Waves was even fiercer than Fierce East Wind. It was more suitable for Chen Zhao's aura. The controlled stone swords were also more powerful. Each slash was powerful. Every attack seemed like it was going to destroy the enemy. Great, change to Jackdaw playing with water. If Fierce East Wind was said to be used to fight fiercely, then Billow's Rise was filled with the desire to destroy, as if everything would be smashed to pieces. But Jackdaw playing with water was a true killing technique. Under the control of the melody, Jackdaw playing with water was more like 12 warriors going to die. Their swords only existed to kill. 3 songs, 3 completely different styles. Old Turtle, what do you think? I can do what you can do too. Chen Zhao was very satisfied with the results of his 100 days of cultivation and training. Are you sure? Old Turtle glanced at Chen Zhao. I'm talking about the zither. For example, controlling the stone swords. If I use my full power, the zither probably can't handle my spiritual energy. Can't you let me be proud for once? Why should I let you be proud? Chen Zhao pouted. You're so boring. I'm not a human. Chen Zhao continued practicing. If he practiced these 3 songs to the point of perfection, it would at least be enough to kill people. Then he started practicing some other tunes, such as some familiar pop music. However, pop music didn't have that kind of murderous aura, so Chen Zhao really couldn't feel it. This practice lasted for 8 months. When he came out of the river map, 5 or 6 hours had passed outside. The next day, Feilai woke up from her sleep. She heard the melodious and beautiful zither music from outside. The melody was so beautiful that she was moved to tears. Feilai walked to the balcony and saw that Chen Zhao was sitting by the shore, playing the zither. Disbelief was written all over Feilai's face. When she went to sleep last night, Chen Zhao couldn't even grasp the pitch. But in just one night, Chen Zhao could play such a beautiful melody. Feilai walked downstairs and came to Chen Zhao's side. When Chen Zhao finished, she asked, Chen, you learned how to play the zither in one night. And you're so good at it. Do you admire me a lot? Feilai rolled her eyes at Chen Zhao, but she was filled with pride. Chen, what's the song just now? The fisherman sings at night, Chen Zhao said. It's so nice. Feilai wasn't complimenting him. She really felt that the song was beautiful. A certain part of the song was also used as the background music for CCTV's weather forecast. It had been used for more than 30 years and hadn't changed. Chapter 936. There were still 3 days until Christmas. After a month, Chen Zhao came to hell again. This time, Chen Zhao told Feilai clearly. Otherwise, Feilai would blame him for disappearing for no reason again. Little handsome boy, sit down. The handsome guy looked at Chen Zhao, confused. Chen Zhao had just arrived in hell. Why did he want him to sit down? What was he doing? Chen Zhao also sat down before the guy and set up the zither. Because it's a holiday in the human world, I have to give each friend a gift. I don't know what you like, so I practiced this instrument from my hometown. I'll play it for you. The guy looked at Chen Zhao curiously. Chen Zhao started playing Fishing Boats at Night. This song had a very nice melody and was Chen Zhao's first choice. Of course, apart from this song, Chen Zhao had a few other songs. In the past few days, he did nothing but practice the zither every day. However, Chen Zhao didn't know if the guy liked Fishing Boats at Night or not. After all, everyone had different tastes and tastes. If the guy didn't like it, Chen Zhao would change to something else. After Chen Zhao finished the song, he realized that the guy was sitting cross-legged and staring blankly with one hand supporting his chin. Handsome, you don't like this style, right? The guy suddenly woke up and shook his head. No, I like this style. Thank you. The guy's smile was very bright. As expected of an angel of light. Even if it was just a smile, it would warm people's hearts. Remember what I promised you. Chen Zhao thought for a moment. You said you'll take me to eat Hell's specialties. Yes. Let's go. Just then, a black shadow flew over Chen Zhao's head, covering the sky. Chen Zhao looked up and saw a patch of black clouds. However, this black cloud came very suddenly, as if it had appeared out of nowhere. The next moment, the black cloud split open and a black dragon descended from the sky, landing heavily before Chen Zhao and the guy. So big. Chen Zhao's first thought was that it was big. How big was this black dragon? Chen Zhao had thought that Aura's body was big enough. But compared to this one, it was like the difference between a chick and an eagle. It was too big, like a black mountain falling before Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao even felt that he wouldn't be able to block the dust that the black dragon kicked up when it landed. The ground was shaking. The handsome guy held on to Chen Zhao. At the same time, he waved his hand in front of him and the dust dispersed. Don't tell me this is your mount. It's the projection of the ancestral dragon, the handsome boy said. Just a projection. If he was the ancestral dragon, Chen Zhao would believe it. The handsome guy brought Chen Zhao to the back of the ancestral dragon's projection. Even though he was just standing on the dragon's back, he could feel the power spreading under his feet. The power engulfed Chen Zhao's body. Perhaps the ancestral dragon's projection could kill him with a single thought. Of course, if he could overcome his fear, he could still experience the joy of standing on the back of a dragon. After about an hour, ancestral Gragon landed outside a city that was about the same size as him. After Chen Zhao and the handsome guy came down, ancestral Gragon left with a dragon roar. Chen Zhao and the handsome guy walked into the city and realized that there were many demons. Most of them were low-level demons or mixed-blood demons. This is... Chen Zhao realized that the buildings in the city seemed to have been built temporarily. These are demons I collected from all over the world, the handsome boy said. They are either delicious, or they possess delicious food. The handsome guy pointed at a demon kneeling on the ground not far away. Take him for example. He's a rare slap demon. Because his flesh and blood are very delicious, he was almost hunted to the brink of extinction. I also turned the entire hell upside down to find his tribe. The most delicious part of him is his heart. The handsome guy was about to kill him when Chen Zhao immediately stopped him. Don't. What? Don't you want to try this rare delicacy? You know that humans are very complicated creatures, right? We have a kind of fake kindness. It's hard for us to face other creatures dying in front of us. Even if they're food, if they're presented to us as food, we'll eat them without hesitation. So you're saying that it's okay as long as they don't die in front of you. Let him and his tribe go. After all, they're about to go extinct. There's a law in the human world that protects those creatures that are about to go extinct after being hunted by humans. It's to prevent a species from going extinct. It's indeed a strange idea. You Chinese should have a saying like this, survival of the fittest, the handsome guy said. In hell, if a demon race goes extinct, it only means that the race isn't strong enough and has no value in existing. Humans are that complicated. That's why there's kindness and evil. Some believe in light and some believe in darkness. You think we demons are evil? I don't think we're evil. We're pure. I don't understand. The handsome guy looked at Chen Zhao in confusion. Actually, it's a difference in philosophy, Chen Zhao said. The rule of this world is survival of the fittest, Chen Zhao said. Every demon race has to learn to be cruel to adapt to this rule. Pure darkness isn't darkness anymore because of the rule. But you've never seen a truly evil human. Of course I've seen evil humans. Why do you think those souls have fallen into hell? Those souls that have committed heinous crimes will directly come before me and accept my judgment. Fine. These demons who were gathered here by the handsome little guy might not know his identity. But they knew that he was definitely a high and mighty demon. Facing such a superior, they didn't dare to resist. They accepted the handsome guy's order to trade here. Chen Zhao and the handsome guy stopped before a stall. The demon in the stall was a short one. There were some green fruits about the size of coconuts on his stall. Are these fruits delicious? Chen Zhao picked one up. Wait. The handsome guy couldn't stop him in time. The fruit had already opened its bloody mouth and jumped up, biting Chen Zhao's face. Chen Zhao forcefully pulled the fruit off. His face was covered in juice. What's this? Chapter 937. In this evil demon city, there were many things that looked strange or weird, but they were actually delicious. Chen Zhao also brought many local delicacies. He planned to bring them home for Fei Lai to try too. Before going back, the handsome guy gave Chen Zhao the lucky coin and substitute coin that he'd promised last time. Human, this is for you. The handsome guy placed a gem in Chen Zhao's hand. What's this gem for? Chen Zhao asked curiously. Resurrection gem. Can only be used once. It can make you immune to lethal damage for a short time. Your gift seems a bit expensive. Take it. Oh, Merry Christmas. A demon king told himself, Merry Christmas. Why does this feel so weird? Chen Zhao returned to the human world with this weird feeling. Fei Lai, come in. I brought you good food. Hearing Chen Zhao's voice, Fei Lai immediately ran in. Fei Lai was already very greedy before she got pregnant. Now, she was even more greedy. What good food? I'll take it out. Don't be scared. How can I be scared? I've seen everything. Fei Lai had also seen super disgusting or ugly monsters or extremely ferocious evil spirits. Therefore, Fei Lai felt that she could face everything calmly now. Chen Zhao took out the gnaw fruit. Sensing Fei Lai beside him, the gnaw fruit immediately opened its mouth, wanting to bite Chen Zhao. Fei Lai immediately screamed and ran away. What is this? See? You said you weren't scared. What is this? Fei Lai repeated the question. It's called a gnaw fruit. It's a type of food. Of course, if you're not careful, you'll be eaten too. Can it be eaten? It looks weird, but it tastes really, really good. Really? Chen Zhao had the underlings cut it up and then brought it to Fei Lai. With a suspicious expression, Fei Lai didn't reach out to take it. Eat it. It's really good. Fei Lai finally gathered her courage and picked up a piece. After taking a bite, Fei Lai felt energized. The raw fruit's flesh was really special. It tasted like meat but wasn't. It was also extremely fresh and tender. It was sweet but not greasy, with a faint meaty aroma. Isn't it delicious? Without needing Chen Zhao to say anything, Fei Lai had already finished the fruit and picked up another piece. Chen, can we plant this? Chen Zhao smiled bitterly. He thought about what Fei Lai was thinking too. However, this place didn't have the environment of hell, and it was very troublesome to grow the bite fruit. It had to be fed to living creatures, and it needed a lot of sulfur. Moreover, it would be very dangerous if the people around him accidentally passed by. If he was bitten, it would be the same as being bitten by a dog. It wouldn't kill, but it would cause significant damage to the body. So, Chen Zhao rejected this idea. If Fei Lai wanted to eat more, he could just get some the next time he went to hell. There was no need to grow such a dangerous plant at home. I still have a lot here, enough for you to eat. Is it enough? Fei Lai asked. Fei Lai felt that since it was already Christmas. Therefore, he had to choose some gifts to visit his friends and family. I thought about this when I came back, so I brought quite a lot, Chen Zhao said. But I have to cut them and wrap them up. If I give them whole, they'll be scared to death. Cut some more, Fei Lai said. I'll give them to people too. Okay. First, Chen Zhao and Fei Lai went to Ban's family. Because it was Christmas, Ken was on holiday too. The two of them stayed in Ban's house for a while before leaving. But then, they went their separate ways to give gifts. Steven, are you at home? I'm here. Why? Do you want to come over? I'll give you some food. Fuck, you're too insincere. My food is very special. I guarantee you've never eaten it before. Really? Steven knew that Chen Zhao had some special abilities, so he was instantly interested in his so-called special food. Chen Zhao went to Steven's house and saw that Famtis and Evan were there too. Hi, Famtis and Evan. Mr. Chen. Ever since Famtis realized Chen Zhao's scary side, he was respectful every time he saw Chen Zhao. Chen, what kind of food are you giving me? Steven asked eagerly as he walked out of the room. Chen Zhao took out a wrapped box and gave it to Steven. Steven opened the box and picked up a piece of fruit. In an instant, Steven's eyes widened. What is this? This taste, it's amazing, Olis. So delicious. Chen Zhao picked up a piece and tossed it to Evan. Famtis' face darkened. Mr. Chen, Evan doesn't eat fruit. But the next moment, Evan went up and picked up the fruit. He chewed a few times and swallowed it. Then, Evan looked at Chen Zhao expectantly. Famtis' eyes widened as he stared at Evan in shock. No way. Even his eating habits changed after seeing Chen Zhao. Damn, Chen, it's such a waste to give such a small amount of fruit to Evan, Steven said with a pained expression. Chen Zhao took out another piece and gave it to Famtis. This is for you. Since Chen Zhao had seen Famtis, at least they knew each other. He wouldn't give her a piece. Famtis was somewhat stunned. He didn't know whether he should take it or not. Take it, Chen Zhao said. Even if you don't want it, Evan should be interested. Chen, what is this? It tastes so special. Where did you buy it? I'll go buy some too. There's no place to buy it. Apart from me, there's no other place. Don't think about asking for more. I don't have much either. I have to give it to someone else. I'll take Rasva's share for him. You can give it to me. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Oh, Famtis, can you go out for a while? I have something to talk to Stephen about. Okay, Mr. Chen. Seeing Chen Zhao's serious expression, Stephen didn't understand. Chen, what do you want to say? I heard that DSN has a movie called God of War. It's going to be released at the same time as James' movie, right? Yes, James is really unlucky to see this movie. DSN invited me to watch it during the test screening. It's really good. I hate the director of this movie, Chen Zhao said. You have a grudge against him. If James' movie suddenly becomes popular, will it affect God of War's box office? You want to, if God of War's box office fails, will DSN stock be affected? It was the new year. Chen Zhao planned to earn some money for himself. You want to short DSN stock price? Yes. How confident are you? Stephen asked. I'm confident that I can turn James around, but I'm not sure how much it will affect God of War's box office. Chapter 938. You want to help James? Stephen asked. Technically, my relationship with James isn't that good, Chen Zhao said. But the director of God of War humiliated me once and gave me $10. I've been keeping it ever since. Also, it's the new year. I want to earn some extra money. That's right, Chen Zhao said. This sentence made Stephen feel good all over. Chen Zhao said that his relationship with James wasn't that good. Since James had helped him, it meant that they were really close. You're still going to use that lucky coin? Stephen asked. Yes. You said that this lucky gold coin can only be used once. It's better to keep this lucky gold coin. Our new movie is about to start shooting, and you'll be a part of it, Zhang Tai said. I still have it, Chen Zhao said. Don't worry. I won't forget our movie. Since you've decided, I'll call James over. Okay. Call him over. A moment later, James arrived. Hi, Mr. Chen, Mr. Stephen, Merry Christmas. James wasn't in a good state of mind. He looked a little like Stephen back then. Chen Zhao and Stephen exchanged glances. James, your new movie is about to be released, right? Yes. James nodded with a bitter expression on his face. How is it? Do you have any expectations for the box office? Stephen asked. Mr. Stephen, are you kidding me? James smiled bitterly. Don't think about unpleasant things. We called you over this time because we want to drink, Stephen said. Mr. Stephen, I have to go back and watch the newly edited version. I'll send it to the theaters tomorrow. Drink with us, Stephen said. I'll edit it for you. James froze. Mr. Stephen, are you serious? Of course. I'm not joking. Then, can I put your name on it? Sure. Stephen nodded. James felt like he was about to fly. Even though Stephen wasn't the director and was only an editor, he still had a huge influence on the movie. Moreover, Stephen's previous movie, Angry Sea Sheriff, had been edited by him. It was because of his own editing that there was such a godly movie. But there are only 3 days left before the screening. Furthermore, the film will be sent to the cinemas the day after tomorrow at the latest. Will you be able to edit it in time? Don't you believe me? Stephen said. I believe you, I believe you. For James, this was a blessing from the heavens. Chen Zhao and Stephen got James drunk. Then Chen Zhao took out a lucky coin. Chen Zhao grabbed James' finger and pierced it. He dripped a drop of blood onto the gold coin. That's it. It's not like you haven't used it before. Why are you asking such an amateur? Alright, this kid is really lucky. Stephen stuffed the lucky coin into James' pocket. Chen Zhao continued to send gifts. He didn't have to worry anymore. Mr. Stephen, I heard that you are the editor of the new Christmas movie Animal Mart. Yes, is there a problem? But Director James should be your assistant director. Now that he's the director and you're his editor, do you think he has the right? Kid, this has nothing to do with qualifications. James is my friend. He's a very talented guy, so I'll help him to the best of my ability, Stephen said calmly. But I heard that this movie is only a small investment. Aren't you afraid of affecting your reputation? I'm Stephen. Why should I be afraid? Also, I don't think James will fail. I don't think I'll fail either. Mr. Stephen, I don't mean to doubt your knowledge in film, but this movie is not directed by you. Do you think the editing rights can affect the movie? First of all, I only took the job because James is good at the movie. If I thought it was a pile of shit and the movie was hopeless, I wouldn't have taken the job. Sonnenfeld hugged Sarah and watched Stephen's interview on TV. Honey, will Stephen's editing for Animal Mart affect the box office of God of War? Sarah asked worriedly. Sarah, you still don't understand movies. Stephen is too arrogant. He's a man, not a god. Sonnenfeld smiled, but his face was full of disapproval. Animal Mart will be a stain on his reputation. He'll be dragged down by the movie and humiliated. Just watch how God of War kills Animal Mart, Sonnenfeld said proudly. If it was Stephen's movie, he wouldn't dare to say such words. But Stephen was only in charge of editing. Moreover, editing a movie was not something that could be done in 3 to 5 days. It could easily take a month or two to watch the movie over and over again. Then, they would make the final movie that the audience would see in the cinema. The news that Sonnenfeld received was that Stephen had accepted the job of editing 2 days ago in the nick of time. The way he saw it, Stephen didn't take this job just to edit James' Animal Mart. He just wanted James to borrow his name and his box office appeal. That's good, Sonnenfeld said, his eyes shining. If my movie succeeds, I'll send some scripts to the media. That way, everyone will think that I beat Stephen in box office. Then, for my next movie, I'll be paid several times more. Then, I'll be the female lead in your next movie, right? Of course, baby. I'll tailor a script for you. You'll become a superstar that everyone pays attention to, the darling of international fashion brands. That's great. I knew you'd treat me well. Sarah was overjoyed. You're much better than that useless James. In what way? In every way. Sarah had already turned around and was on top of Sonnenfeld. After some time, the two planned to go out for dinner. Suddenly, they saw a man walking over with a big black dog. The two immediately recognized him as Chen Zhao. What bad luck. I can't believe I met this Asian here. Sonnenfeld's face was full of disdain. As for what Chen Zhao had said to him that day, he didn't take it to heart at all. With a smile, Chen Zhao said, "Isn't this the famous director? Do you live here?" Chapter 939. Trust me. Soon, you won't be able to afford this place. Chen Zhao was full of smiles. Oh, I just passed by and saw a homeless camp. You can go there and find an empty space. You'll need it. Fuck, if you don't get out of my sight, I'll call the police to arrest you. Don't be so excited. I don't want to appear before you either, but I believe we'll meet again. Chen Zhao turned and left with a smile. Darling, don't waste time talking to such a lowly person. Let's go eat dinner. I'm starving. Of course. Sonnenfeld calmed himself down. But as soon as they got in, they realized that the car wouldn't start. Damn, I just bought this car. Why is there a problem? Sonnenfeld roared angrily. Let's call a taxi. Okay. Sonnenfeld's mood turned bad. Master, who should we give the money we absorbed from that guy? It's really windy today. Isn't there a homeless camp up ahead? Let's go give it to the homeless there and let them have a relaxing Christmas. After that, we'll hurry back. Chen Zhao didn't like this kind of lukewarm wind. It felt cool on his body, but he didn't feel cold. Instead, it gave him goosebumps. Those homeless won't be able to get all the money. That guy has over $10 million. According to Black Ma's rules, if one didn't have enough money, they would have to pay the same price. Then, they would have to pay an equivalent price for the amount of money they received. Then let's see someone and give them some money. Chen Zhao and Black Ma gave each other money as they walked. Just then, there was the urgent sound of a police siren. Chen Zhao turned around and saw that it was a car chase and a gunfight. Just then, the police in the police car hit the car wheels of the criminals. The car lost control and crashed into a stone block on the side of the road. Bang! Then, a large amount of cash spilled out of the car window. A gust of wind blew and the money danced in the air. Fuck, did these robbers rob a bank vault? Chen Zhao looked at the banknotes flying in the air. They had already covered the entire street. The police in the police car were also dumbfounded. They couldn't do anything now. Chen Zhao touched his chin. Was this Black Ma's power? Chen Zhao had used Black Ma's ability once before. But at that time, it wasn't very clear. Black Ma's ability was not an offensive spell. Therefore, no one knew if it was the effect of its ability. But this time, Chen Zhao experienced Black Ma's ability in the most direct way. Black Ma might not be the strongest, but he was not weak either. Chen Zhao returned home and started decorating. Although Chen Zhao wasn't interested in Christmas, Fei Lai was an American. Therefore, the family still needed a festive atmosphere. His original plan was to have a party tomorrow. But then he learned from Fei Lai that the Americans basically wouldn't visit on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Just like the Chinese Spring Festival, people didn't go out on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. This was good as well. They didn't have to disturb others during the festival, and no one would disturb them. Cam, let's go watch a movie. I don't want to. The Christmas movies are all family movies. It's too boring. Dylan, are you interested in this kind of movie? Don't you admire Mr. Steven the most? There's a Christmas movie that Mr. Steven personally directed and edited. Oh. Which movie? Animal Mart. The director is Mr. Steven's assistant director. Then let's go watch. Cam and his friend went to the theater and bought 2 tickets. Entering the theater, Graham and his friend found that there were quite a lot of people in the theater. I feel like this movie is very ordinary. After watching for 5 minutes, Cam got bored. How disappointing. I was looking forward to something different. It seems like any movie that isn't directed by Mr. Steven is boring. Why doesn't Mr. Steven shoot one himself? Being an editor doesn't reflect his ability at all. 4, 5, Dylan, what are you counting? Didn't you notice? There have been 5 Easter eggs since the start of the movie. Now it's the 6th one. The 6th one. Cam looked at the plot in confusion. Suddenly, he realized that the plot was paying homage to a certain scene in a classic movie. Moreover, the plot was handled very well. It didn't feel out of place at all. Looks like this director is quite capable. This new director is a complete Easter egg maniac. The 8th one. No, the 10th one. Where's the 10th one? I only saw 8. Didn't you notice? The conversation between the male and female leads just now contained 2 Easter eggs. Oh my God, it's only been 10 minutes and there are already 10 Easter eggs. How many Easter eggs are hidden in the entire movie? Interesting, this scene is too interesting. There are 3 Easter eggs hidden in this scene. Really? I just noticed one. No, it's 5, an audience member in the back suddenly said in a low voice. The two couldn't help but turn to the audience member. Are you sure? It contains Titanic, Bridges on the Bridge, The Godfather, RoboCop, and Superman. This movie can be said to be made up of Easter eggs. It's a very special movie. The unknown audience member said, every line and every scene in the movie might have a special meaning. Even I can't completely understand it. So interesting. The director is very good, but the editing is even better. It's a strong team. Hey, Mr. Steven is actually in this movie. I didn't hear anything about it before. Just then, the retired policeman played by Steven appeared. He also met his nemesis in the movie. The two passed by each other in the supermarket. The retired policeman keenly sensed the abnormality of the villain and followed him. Mr. Steven and the villain are completely independent of the plot. They're both characters in the movie. And did you notice that the villain didn't show his face from beginning to end? There were a few minutes of footage, but he wasn't shown his face. The editor must have a grudge against the villain. Definitely, because Mr. Steven is the editor. Look how badly the villain beat Mr. Steven. Chapter 940. Did you notice that the thing that the villain threw at Steven's retired cop was a movie prop? It was the head of the Terminator. They're so interesting. The movie ended with the villain being stabbed to death by Steven's character. Of course, the two of them had their own plots. But the highlight of the movie was the Easter eggs. Easter eggs were everywhere. Perhaps an action with a line would be a line from a movie. How many Easter eggs did you find? 103. I only found 53. How come we're so short? No, I want to watch it again. I want to know which Easter eggs I missed. I want to watch it again too. I think there were many missing Easter eggs the first time. Just then, a group of people walked out of the theater. A couple walked out. Honey, what do you think of God of War? Not bad. The special effects are great. The girl obviously didn't like this kind of movie as much as the guy. I think it's boring. It's still early. How about we find another movie to watch? Sure, what do you like to watch? Let's watch Animal Mart. I like Steven's movies. He filmed this. The boy clearly didn't know much about movies. No, he's just an editor. The director is Steven's original assistant director. After 100 minutes, the movie ended and the couple walked out of the theater. I love this movie so much, the girl said excitedly. It's so interesting. I was looking for Easter eggs the whole time. How many did you find? The boy asked. We found a total of 43 Easter eggs. What? There are 43 Easter eggs. Why did I only find 25? That means you don't know Hollywood well enough, the girl said. Just then, another audience member who came out of the same theater said, you only found 40-something. I found 103 on the first time. The couple exclaimed, there are that many. The second time, there are 11 more. That's 114 Easter eggs. Honey, let's watch it again. Okay, I want to see what other Easter eggs I haven't found. Please give me 2 tickets for the movie Animal Mart. I'm sorry, sir and madam, Animal Mart is full. The ticket seller at the ticket office said, God of War is not bad. Are you interested? Animal Supermarket is selling so well. It's mainly because the number of screenings for Animal Mart is too small, the ticket seller said. A movie like God of War is too boring. There's no plot at all, the woman said. Then are you sure that Animal Mart is good? The man was a little doubtful. Haven't you heard? It's already been exposed on the internet. This movie is called a magical movie. It said that the entire movie is filled with Easter eggs. The woman said, I really don't understand why the cinema would give the screening room to a movie like God of War. At this moment, the ticket seller received a call. After a while, the ticket seller said, due to the adjustment of the movie theater, there are already tickets for Animal Mart available. Do you want them? However, before the two of them could reply, a few people squeezed in from behind. I want. Don't push. We were here first. James, sit down. Let's drink. Stephen and Rasfa were sitting there drinking while James paced around uneasily. James, don't worry, Rasfa said. Even if this movie loses money at the box office, I can promise you that you'll have a second movie. Of course, he was also doing this for Stephen's sake. Stephen rolled his eyes. Rasfa, do you believe that James's movie will definitely earn more than $1 billion at the box office? Both Rasfa and James replied to Stephen by rolling their eyes. Mr. Stephen, don't joke around. I'll be satisfied with $100 million at the box office. Do you want to make a bet? Stephen said, grinning. What bet? I'll bet with you, Rasfa said. Let's bet on your purple brew, Stephen said. I don't have any more purple brew. Stephen rolled his eyes. Don't fool me. Every time I go near the cellar, you purposely pull me away. Let's change the bet, Rasfa said. Weren't you so confident in your speculation? Why aren't you betting now? Just then, James's phone rang. James immediately picked it up. After a while, James hung up. His expression softened. How is it? Is the real-time box office out? Yes. The box office in the 3 hours in the morning was $15 million. The box office from 12 to 1 in the afternoon was $58 million. Surprised, Rasfa put down the glass in his hand. What was the pre-show box office last night? $3 million US. So you're saying that you have almost 23 million in just half a day? At this rate, you should be able to get around 40 million on the first day, Rasfa said. For a movie with a small investment, the box office is definitely not bad. It can even be profitable. Oh, what's the real-time box office for God of War? Stephen asked. What's the current total? I haven't asked. It should be twice as much as my movie. The pre-show box office last night already reached 13 million. That's the standard for a top movie. Honey, what's the real-time box office for God of War? It's already past 30 million, Sonnenfeld said proudly. Sonnenfeld proudly said, according to this development trend, the box office can reach $80 million on the first day. Although the box office was far from the record, it was still something to be proud of. Oh, how much did that trash's pet mart earn? I don't know, but it definitely won't be that high, Sonnenfeld said disapprovingly. Is the champagne ready? We can already celebrate in advance. Of course, the champagne is ready, Sarah said. Honey, do you have plans for your next movie? Baby, there's no rush. When the box office of my new movie comes out, we'll talk to DSN. That way, I can help you get a higher salary. Honey, you're so nice. Just then, an urgent ringing of the phone interrupted the two's intimacy. Sonnenfeld picked up the phone unhappily. This is Sonnenfeld. Who is it? Sonnenfeld, come to the company's headquarters immediately. Now, immediately. Chapter 941. Tyrese, the chairman of DSN. But in Hollywood, Tyrese had another title. This title was very similar to Steven's. Steven was the tyrant on the set. Tyrese was the tyrant of Hollywood. Sonnenfeld was no longer as proud as before. He answered the phone timidly. "Don't ask so many questions. Come here immediately." "Yes, Mr. Tyrese." Sonnenfeld had no confidence in facing Tyrese. In the whole of Hollywood, other than the chairman of the other Big Six, perhaps only people of Steven's level, or other older people in the entertainment industry, could say no to Tyrese. When Sonnenfeld arrived at the company, he found that the conference room was filled with the main cast of God of War. "Mr. Tyrese." Sonnenfeld greeted him and took his seat. At this moment, the assistant picked up a document. "Mr. Sonnenfeld, the box office of God of War started to plummet since an hour ago. On the contrary, the box office of Animal Mart, produced by PLM, is steadily rising. Currently, the difference between the two is only $10 million. God of War is still in the lead for now, but if the box office continues to develop at this rate, it will be overtaken by Animal Mart in about 2 hours. That's impossible. Animal Supermarket only has 5% of the screenings, and the filming budget of Animal Supermarket, including the publicity budget, is only $40 million, while God of War has a budget of $250 million. The two are not on the same level at all. How can Animal Supermarket surpass God of War in the box office? That's where the problem lies. Tyrese said calmly. Although Animal Mart was released at the same time as God of War in less than a day, there are already super high ratings online. Mr. Tyrese, you should also know that professional film critics' ratings do not represent the box office. Many times, a low reputation can be exchanged for a high box office. I think this is PLM's strategy. They bribed film critics to improve their reputation. I think this is only a temporary improvement. Soon, more people will watch the movie and pull down the score. You still don't understand. Animal Mart is not a professional film critic's rating. It is the audience's rating. Besides, Animal Mart has now become a hot topic. Whether it is on search engines or on social media, there are a lot of positive topics. Tyrese looked at Sonnenfeld. You should understand what it means for God of War if the two of them lose on the first day. The investment, expectations, and even popularity of the two movies were several times different. If God of War didn't become the box office champion on the first day, it would be disastrous for God of War. Public opinion would completely lean towards Animal Supermarket, and at the same time, it would also criticize God of War. In Hollywood, there was a phenomenon called the word-of-mouth effect. For example, Avatar, 10 years ago, or Sea Patrol, this year, were all products of the word-of-mouth effect. In fact, this kind of word-of-mouth effect was similar to the so-called tap water in China. It was a large number of positive reviews that would attract the audience to the cinema. The cinema chains would also adjust the number of screenings, increasing the number of screenings for Animal Supermarket and reducing the number of screenings for other films. Of course, they wanted to squeeze out God of War screenings. I should have known. I really shouldn't have believed in a trash like you. You can't even compare to Steven's assistant director. Mr. Tyrese, Mr. Steven helped James with the editing. Sonnenfeld finally found an excuse. Steven's influence and ability are undeniable, but if James didn't have the ability to shoot good scenes and shots, Steven wouldn't have been able to edit anything good. So, in the end, it's all about ability, Tyrese said emotionlessly. Just then, the assistant's phone rang. The assistant picked it up. After a while, he leaned over and whispered a few words in Tyrese's ear. Tyrese's face instantly became gloomy. The real-time box office of Animal Supermarket has surpassed God of War, again, $40 million of investment versus $250 million of investment, 5% of the screenings versus 60% of the screenings, had actually lost in the real-time box office. This kind of heaven-defying gap was completely unimaginable. Is that Animal Supermarket really that good? Boss, Animal Supermarket was originally adapted from a real story. It has its own IP popularity, the assistant said. The assistant said, secondly, Mr. Stevens' influence also played a crucial role. Of course, the most important thing is that this movie has 0 negative reviews in the first 100 reviews. In a survey of 1,000 people, the positive rating is above 95%. There are also many topics of discussion. For example, Mr. Stevens' first appearance on the big screen, and his request for the villain to show his face. There are also scenes within scenes and Easter eggs. These are all highly discussed topics. Damn it, why is there such a hot topic in a movie with a small investment? Tyrese roared, gritting his teeth. Rasfa, that old thing, really found a treasure. Go and contact James and see if he's willing to cooperate with our company. This year was destined to be a bumper year for PLM. Stevens' movie had created history and a miracle. But who would have thought that an unknown director would amaze the world with a single brilliant feat and throw another bomb at the whole of Hollywood at the end of the year? Boss, our company's stock price has fluctuated and is beginning to fall slightly. Tyrese had already thought of this, but he still said calmly, now it's just speculators selling. When the box office of the first day comes out tomorrow, our company's stock will usher in a greater decline. Be prepared. In fact, with the size of DSN, the failure of a movie would not cause too much of a blow to the company. It would not even be a serious blow to the company. But the stock price would definitely fall. For some major shareholders, they still valued the value of the shares themselves. DSN's shares could allow them to do whatever they wanted in Hollywood. But some small shareholders would definitely keep an eye on the stock price. If the stock price fell by 1%, it was equivalent to losing 1% of their net worth. This was what they were most concerned about. At that time, at the shareholders' meeting, Tyrese would also be attacked by more shareholders. It might even shake his current position. This was the biggest impact. And the biggest problem was that God of War was originally produced as the vanguard of the trilogy. But now DSN was in a very awkward situation. Continues shooting the second and third movies. Chapter 942. 86 million. James' expression froze. Rasfa also froze. It was 10:20 at night. Animal Mart's box office had exceeded 86 million so far. It had a chance to exceed 90 million by midnight. For a Super A movie, this number was at most a passable number. But for a movie with a small investment, this number was enough to make everyone laugh their heads off. One had to know that Animal Supermarket only had 5% of the screenings. This meant that the movie's occupancy rate was close to 90%. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to reach this level of box office. In the afternoon, Rasfa had thought that as long as James didn't lose his investment, even a small one, it would be acceptable. Who would have thought that the movie would be so popular? It wasn't as popular as Stevens' previous movie, but it was definitely an outstanding result. Mr. Steven, I really don't know how to thank you. James thanked Steven from the bottom of his heart. In his opinion, if Steven hadn't helped him edit the movie, it definitely wouldn't have such a good result. Chin asked me to help you, Steven said. If you want to thank someone, thank him. Mr. Chin. But, why? He seems to have a grudge with your ex-wife, Steven said. And the director of God of War seems to have a grudge with him too. Oh. The director of God of War is called Sonnenfeld, right? Rasva asked. That's right, Steven said. They know each other. Chin and Falai went to Marina's restaurant and ran into Sonnenfeld and James' ex-wife. They humiliated Chin in front of everyone and even gave him $10. Chin didn't kill Sonnenfeld on the spot. In their impression, Chen Zhao was known for his bad temper. The next day, PetMart's box office increased again. At the same time, DSN's stock price fluctuated too. It dropped by 2% in one day. DSN was the largest movie company in the world. This didn't include other industries outside of Hollywood. Its market value was over $100 billion. A 2% drop meant that $2 billion had been lost. Actually, if it was just God of War's failure, it wouldn't have such a huge impact. The main reason was that God of War was the beginning of a series of movies. Now that the first movie had failed miserably, even though the sequel had yet to start filming, some investments had already been made. This caused these early investments to become an uncertain factor. Continue filming the sequel? What if it fails like the first series? If they stopped filming, the loss would be even more direct. It was precisely because of this kind of bad news, coupled with people with ulterior motives who added fuel to the fire. As a result, Disney's stock price fluctuated significantly. Chen, hold on for half a day tomorrow, Steven said. Sell your stocks tomorrow afternoon. Okay, got it. Chen Zhao wasn't greedy. He was satisfied that he could earn a few $1,000,000. This kind of opportunity was rare. It was already a rare opportunity to encounter it once a year. DSN won't sit back and watch the stock fall, so they've started to take action, Steven said. Oh, how did they do it? Tomorrow, they will release the news that I will be taking over the God of War series. Will you take it over? No. I don't have any business relationship with DSN. Also, their terms are too domineering. Even I can't get enough power, so I won't work with them unless they lower their stance like other film companies. So you're just going to let them use your name to pull up the stock? They told me beforehand. Chen Zhao immediately understood that it was an exchange of benefits. But this wasn't surprising. No wonder Steven knew when DSN stock would rise so accurately. Because Chen Zhao was buying short-term stocks, he was going to short them directly. First, he would borrow DSN stocks from the dealer and sell them to the market. Then, after the stock fell, he would go to the market and buy the scattered stocks to return to the dealer. The difference in the middle, after deducting the interest, was Chen Zhao's profit. Chen Zhao didn't really play stocks. He only had a general idea. The risk of directly shorting was very high because there were too many fake and real news mixed in the market. If he wasn't completely confident, Chen Zhao wouldn't put tens of millions of dollars into the market. Usually, going short was the specialty of the big capitalists. This time, Chen Zhao had Steven guiding him step by step. Steven might not be a financial giant, but he had a team that helped him manage his assets. Anyway, if Steven wanted him to buy, he would buy. If Steven wanted him to sell, he would sell. Chen, after DSN announces the good news tomorrow afternoon, the stock should rise a bit. You can use this chance to make some money. I'll clarify the news in 2 weeks. Chen Zhao understood. The risk of going short was too high and he wouldn't make much money. But if he bought the stock to rise, with Steven there, the stock would definitely rise by quite a bit. With leverage, it wouldn't be a problem to make $10 or $20 million. This was also the reason why DSN and Steven were exchanging benefits. Small investors were small investors. They would never be able to beat capitalists. This was the reason. Capitalists only needed to announce a piece of news and the stock would rise and fall. Without Steven's cooperation, Chen Zhao would probably still foolishly think that DSN stock would continue to fall. By then, he might even lose a lot of money. Of course, since he didn't use leverage, he wouldn't make much money, but he wouldn't lose much either. Mr. Sonnenfeld, the stock you invested in is almost at a loss. I suggest you stop your losses immediately. The call was from Sonnenfeld's stock manager. Sonnenfeld almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He had bet on his house, car, and around $1 million in cash. He thought that after his movie, God of War, was released, DSN stock would definitely rise. In the end, he became a stock killer. Not only did the stock not rise because of God of War, it fell instead. How much money do I have in my account? Less than 3 million. Buy it down, buy it down. Buy it down with all your money. Sonnenfeld yelled. Based on the current trend, DSN stock will continue to fall for a few days. Use leverage. Mr. Sonnenfeld, it's very risky to short with leverage. Cut the crap. I've already lost nearly $10 million. I can't lose anymore. I have to earn back my losses. Sonnenfeld couldn't think of any way for DSN to pull up the stock. Chapter 943. Chen, you can stop shorting stocks now. Steven gave Chen Zhao another call. Okay, got it. DSN stock had fallen by 4% compared to 3 days ago. For Chen Zhao, it was only $3 or $4 million, but for DSN, it was billions of dollars gone. DSN was a big company, but it couldn't withstand such a speed of evaporation. Of course, there was a limit to the drop. After all, a movie's box office failure couldn't really shake DSN. If it was something like PLM, it was also one of the big six, but it was much smaller than DSN. Therefore, PLM's box office would fluctuate greatly because of a movie's box office. They'll release the news at around 3 in the afternoon. You can buy some stocks beforehand. Okay, got it. Chen Zhao nodded. Chen Zhao's shorting was too risky. Usually, big investors would take the initiative to short. They would buy a lot first and then sell, creating panic in the market and forcing the individual investors away. Then, they would cut the sheep. Chen Zhao's was completely relying on luck. Even if he had reliable information that DSN stock would fall, there was no guarantee of how much it would fall or how long it would last. There was no guarantee of how much it would fall or how long it would last. Once DSN reacted and released some good news, the stock would rise again. Ha! See? I told you it would fall, Sonnenfeld said proudly. Mr. Sonnenfeld, 50 times leverage is too risky. You've already recovered your capital. There's no need to continue. No, continue, Sonnenfeld said. I'll stop before the market closes today. It wasn't easy to make $1 or $2 million a day. Continue shorting DSN. Okay. Sonnenfeld was already immersed in his fantasy. Film my ass. I can't make as much money as stocks. As long as I have money, I can invest in my own movie. Then, I'll show those who look down on me what I'm capable of. I'll use my next movie to prove my ability. Just then, Sonnenfeld's phone rang again. What is it now? Mr. Sonnenfeld. DSN stock went up. What? Then why are you calling me? Hurry up and stop. Sonnenfeld exclaimed. It's too late. We've already lost everything. What? How is that possible? That's a few $1 million, Sonnenfeld said. Since the opening of the market, his original capital had increased several times. How could he suddenly lose all of his capital? Sir, 50 times leverage is a huge risk to begin with. Just a small increase will clear all the funds, Sonnenfeld said. But how? How? How much did DSN stock go up? 3%. How is this possible? Sonnenfeld still couldn't accept this result. According to the news released by DSN, Mr. Steven will take over the filming of the sequel of God of War. You can't do this, you can't do this. I am the director of this series, it's me. Sonnenfeld roared, this job is mine. DSN can't do this. Tyrese can't do this to me. Right, call Tyrese. Sonnenfeld dialed Tyrese's number. Mr. Tyrese, we agreed on it and even signed a contract. I will direct the God of War trilogy. What you are doing now is a violation of the contract. I am going to sue you. Sonnenfeld, you have to understand that because of you, DSN's hundreds of millions of dollars of investment went down. You even caused DSN stock to fall. You still want to direct the sequel of God of War. Don't even mention continuing to direct God of War, no one will even want you as an assistant director. DSN will ban you, and you won't be able to get a single movie in Hollywood. You can't do this to me. I have a contract, I have a contract. You're violating the contract. I want compensation, haha. That's a contract of intent, not a formal contract. Go ahead and sue me. Terrence sneered. He hadn't even finished the first movie. It was impossible for him to confirm the directors for the second and third movies. A mature company couldn't be so childish. A contract of intent had no legal effect. To put it bluntly, it was no different from a conversation at a wine table. If Sonnenfeld's God of War was successful, he would naturally become the director of the second and third sequels. But if the first movie failed, Sonnenfeld would only be a scapegoat. After venting for a while, Sonnenfeld finally sat down on the floor. His career was ruined because of this movie. Because of this gamble, he had completely lost all his assets. It was over. Everything was over. Just then, there was the sound of a car horn downstairs. Sonnenfeld looked out the window. It was an unfamiliar car. Just then, a woman got out of the car. Sonnenfeld saw that the woman was very beautiful. He thought that she might be here to ask him for help. Sonnenfeld went downstairs and opened the door. Miss, are you looking for me? On behalf of the bank, I'm detaining your house, Amira said to Sonnenfeld. What? Detaining? What do you mean? Your house has been mortgaged to our bank. We've checked your account and found that there's no money in it. So now, this house belongs to the bank. If you can't pay the bank back within 3 months, we have the right to auction this house to pay off the money you owe the bank. Wait. I'm a little tight on money now, but I'm a director, a famous director in Hollywood. I have enough credibility and fame. I'm fully capable of paying off the money I owe the bank. You can't just detain my house so suddenly. I'm sorry, Sonnenfeld. This house doesn't belong to you now, Amira said calmly. Please move out before it gets dark. I refuse. Sonnenfeld's attitude was firm. Amira smiled and snapped her fingers. A dozen burly men came in. I don't care if you agree or not. You guys wait here and give Mr. Sonnenfeld some time to prepare. If he doesn't plan to leave before 5:00, you guys can help him move out. Sonnenfeld picked up the phone. Sarah, I want to stay at your place for a few days. Is that convenient for you? Sonnenfeld, I'm not in Los Angeles right now. If you have anything to say, please tell me when I come back. That's all. I still have things to do. Goodbye. Chapter 944. Sarah was a very practical woman. Back then, she could leave James and the second director. Now, she could leave Sonnenfeld. She wasn't very famous now, but but she knew how to protect herself. Sonnenfeld couldn't even protect himself now. Of course, she wouldn't go through thick and thin with him. She wasn't the only one who flew away in the face of disaster. Therese's ban had been issued. Everyone who Sonnenfeld had once been involved with drew a clear line with him. Night was approaching. Sonnenfeld didn't even have money to call a taxi. He suddenly sat in front of his house. All his belongings were piled outside. In just 2 or 3 days, he'd lost everything. Just then, a figure appeared before Sonnenfeld. Sonnenfeld looked up and saw the smiling face. Chen Zhao was standing before Sonnenfeld. You. What are you doing here? Chen Zhao took out the $10 bill. I said that I'd personally return this to you soon. Chen Zhao tossed the bill in front of Sonnenfeld. Sonnenfeld's expression was very ugly. Also, I remember that a few days ago, I told you that you need to find an empty space in the homeless camp. It's you. It's you. Sonnenfeld roared and pounced at Chen Zhao. He didn't know why, but he felt that Chen Zhao had done all this. Chen Zhao's words kept echoing in his mind. If Chen Zhao had nothing to do with it, he wouldn't have said those words. However, Chen Zhao casually pushed him to the ground. It's all your witchcraft, right? You demon, you monster, give me back everything, give it back to me. Chen Zhao stepped on Sonnenfeld's chest. You asked for it. You asked for it. A car stopped before Chen Zhao and Sonnenfeld. The window rolled down. Sonnenfeld saw Stephen in the car. Mr. Stephen. Help me. Help me. This barbarian, he wants to kill me. Stephen glanced at Sonnenfeld and then at Chen Zhao. Chen, you're such a bully. Hearing Stephen's words, Sonnenfeld's expression became even uglier. Then, he thought about how Stephen had accepted to be an editor for James' movie after he had offended Chen Zhao. At this moment, Sonnenfeld finally understood that he had offended someone more influential than him. And it was all for a vain woman. He had lost everything. At this time, another woman in her 20s walked over. He saw Sonnenfeld on the ground, Chen Zhao in front of him, and Stephen in the car. Father. The woman ran over quickly. Who are they? Sonnenfeld lowered his head. I'm fine. Why are you here? I heard something happened to you. Come home with me. The woman was very cautious of Chen Zhao. She could tell that her father and this man, as well as Stephen in the car, were in different states. It looked more like they were bullying their own father. Dad, did they bully you? No. I'm really fine, Sonnenfeld said. That's great, you actually have a daughter. Chen Zhao watched as the father and daughter left, supporting each other. Oh, you lost your money. Aren't you going to pick it up? Mr. Sonnenfeld. Sonnenfeld paused and turned his head to look at Chen Zhao, his eyes filled with fear. Dad. Sonnenfeld's daughter stared at Chen Zhao angrily. She could feel that Chen Zhao was forcing her father. Sonnenfeld turned his head silently. He picked up the $10 bill and stuffed it back into his pocket. Dad, did he threaten you? Tell me not to be afraid of him. No, really, Sonnenfeld did not want his daughter to mess with this man. Because of that conflict, he had gone bankrupt. He did not think that his daughter would do anything if this man targeted her. Chen Zhao got into Stephen's car. Famtis was driving. Chen, how do you plan to take revenge on Sonnenfeld? That's it. I've already made him bankrupt and humiliated him. That's enough. Chen Zhao did not want to continue this topic. Oh, do you have any plans for New Year's? No, Stephen asked. Do you have any plans? I plan to hold a party. All my friends can come to my house. Drink as much as you want and there'll be a lot of food, Chen Zhao said. Famtis, you can come too. Famtis's heart jumped. She knew how expensive Chen Zhao's wine was. She also knew how delicious Chen Zhao's food was. Americans usually celebrated Thanksgiving and Christmas as a family, but they liked to get together to welcome the new year on New Year's. However, Famtis still waited for Stephen's answer. After all, she was Stephen's bodyguard. If Stephen did not go, she could not go either. Sure, Stephen agreed readily. Mr. Chen, can I bring Evan? Of course, Chen Zhao replied. Evan is welcome, Chen Zhao replied. Oh, help me call James. I can't get through to him for the past 2 days. He turned off his phone on purpose, Stephen said. His movie is a hit. All the movie companies are contacting him now. Can he come on New Year's Eve? I'm afraid not. He's busy with publicity, Stephen said. He should be abroad now. That's a pity. Chen Zhao shrugged. How much is his movie's box office now? The North American box office has reached $300 million and it's still rising. How much will it reach? The box office in North America has a chance of reaching $800 million, Stephen estimated. Much worse than you, Chen Zhao said. But it was understandable. The lucky coin was not the kind of ability that could grant all wishes. Instead, it could fully unleash the user's abilities. There was still a large gap between Stephen's abilities and James. Oh, Chen, I plan to find a Chinese actor to play your role. You're Chinese. Do you have any recommendations? No, don't ask me about that. I've never cared about celebrities in the entertainment industry, whether they're from China or Hollywood. Based on your fame, you can contact the companies in China. I'm sure they'll recommend their actors to you one after another. Stephen's name was very influential all over the world, whether it was in Hollywood or other countries' entertainment circles. Chapter 945. Fei Lai really enjoyed the festive atmosphere. It wasn't the process. It was the feeling that the entire world was filled with blessings. Everyone called and wished her a happy holiday. As for Jerlin, all kids liked holidays. Jerlin was no exception. Chen Zhao could understand Fei Lai and Jerlin. Princess and Walter liked it too. Chen Zhao could understand too. Because they had good food. Underlings also liked holidays because they had things to do during the holidays. For underlings, having a sense of existence was very important. They needed to work to gain a sense of existence. But why did Samuel like it too? He talked about conquering the world every day, but why did he only see a salted fish? He was completely addicted to catnip and couldn't stop himself. In the entire family, Chen Zhao was the only one who didn't feel anything about holidays. He wasn't the only one who didn't feel anything about Christmas. He didn't even look forward to Chinese New Year like people of the same generation. Of course, he would still show his passion to his family and make it seem like he really enjoyed the holidays. Chen Zhao was willing to accommodate his family instead of making them think that he didn't like holidays so that they would accommodate him. Holidays should have a festive atmosphere. It was Chen Zhao's own problem, not the fault of those who loved holidays. Chen, when is China's New Year? About 2 months, Chen Zhao said. Fei Lai was definitely a holiday maniac. Christmas had just passed and she was already thinking about the new year. It's in early February. How do we spend it? How do we spend it? Chen Zhao couldn't answer this question. According to Chinese traditions, it was to set off firecrackers, give lucky money, eat dumplings, watch the Spring Festival Gala, and visit relatives. This was how Chinese celebrated the New Year. In the South, they didn't eat dumplings. There was also a tradition in some areas that children under 1 year old wouldn't be given lucky money. Lucky money meant to suppress one's age, so it wasn't a good sign to give lucky money to children. Chen Zhao chatted with Fei Lai about the customs of the new year and how it was compared to Christmas in the West. Just then, his phone rang. Chen Zhao looked. It was that old guy Leon. Hello, Mr. Chen. What's up? Mr. Leon. Mr. Chen, the military has been in trouble recently. The supernatural organization should send some people. Mr. Leon, you seem to have forgotten the rules of the supernatural organization. The supernatural organization doesn't participate in government or military operations, Chen Zhao said. But the military and government can't interfere with the supernatural organization's operations. They can only cooperate. This rule wasn't set by Chen Zhao. It was set by the Supernatural International Alliance. This was to ensure that the supernatural society would not become a tool of a government. Mr. Chen, I'm not asking you to participate in this operation. You're just going to be a consultant to help the military solve some problems. What problem? Chen Zhao asked. Recently, a group of tourists went missing in the desert 100 kilometers northwest of Las Vegas. The military participated in the search operation and detected a huge underground building complex near the area where the tourists went missing. So far, 2 teams of 10 people have been sent into the underground building complex in 2 batches, but only 1 survivor escaped. However, after saying some strange things, he died in the hospital the next day. What did he say? Monster's Paradise. That's the Monster's Paradise. Leong said. Did you detect any signs of life? No. When West comes back from Cape Town, I'll send him over to check the situation. Anyway, Chen Zhao had the attitude that it had nothing to do with him. This was the military's matter. It had nothing to do with him or the supernatural organization. Mr. Chen, I asked West. He said they need at least 10 more days. Oh, then you can only wait, Chen Zhao said, unconcerned. Mr. Chen, aren't you in L now? L is only 400 kilometers from Las Vegas. I can also send a plane to pick you up. And then you throw me down from the sky. Mr. Chen, would you believe me if I said I had nothing to do with what happened last time? Ha! I believe you. Chen Zhao didn't care if Leong had arranged it or not. Just because Leong could do whatever he wanted to him, why did he have to listen to his explanation? Leong was also very depressed. Ever since he'd fallen out with Chen Zhao, even West's attitude towards him had become very bad. It would be better if he had never seen Chen Zhao before. At least he could still order West around. But ever since he'd fallen out with Chen Zhao, everything had changed. The supernatural organization became more forceful, and West spoke to him in a weird manner. Mr. Chen, I only need you as a consultant. You don't have to do anything. You just need to give the 3rd investigation team some professional guidance so that they can have the right precautions when they encounter danger. I'm not free. Just treat it as a private hire. $500,000. Seeing Chen Zhao's attitude, Leong knew that Chen Zhao wouldn't help without some benefits. Chen Zhao thought for a moment and said, I want to go and come back the same day. There's a party at my house the day after tomorrow. Of course, just guidance, Leong said, but he was gritting his teeth inside. $500,000 for 1 day's time. Tomorrow morning, send a helicopter to pick me up. Leong couldn't do anything about Chen Zhao's arrogance. The next day, a military helicopter hovered above Mirror Lake. Chen Zhao and Fei Lai were both woken up by the loud roar of the helicopter. Chen Zhao had told Fei Lai last night. He changed his clothes and hurriedly boarded the helicopter. Other than the pilot, there were also 2 fully armed soldiers. They sat in the helicopter without a smile. They didn't know Qin Zhao's identity. They only knew that he was some kind of expert. "Sir, do you need earmuffs?" The pilot handed an earmuff to Qin Zhao. Traveling in a helicopter from medium to long distances required earmuffs because the noise from the propellers was very high and continuous. If a person was affected by the noise of the propellers for more than 30 minutes without protection, they would become distracted and even lose control of their emotions. Qin Zhao had just woken up and wasn't in the right state of mind. After taking the earmuffs, he leaned against the chair and slept. "Call me when we arrive." Around 2 hours later, the helicopter stopped above a campsite. After Qin Zhao alighted, a few people came to greet him. One of them was Lieutenant Paul, but there was a woman beside him. Chapter 946. "Hi, Mr. Qin." Paul walked up and hugged Qin Zhao first. "It's great to see that you're okay. I made a huge mistake that day." Qin Zhao smiled insincerely. "What a joke. You gave me a parachute that I couldn't open. Should I smile at you?" Qin Zhao couldn't do that. At least, he couldn't be sure if Paul had any ill intentions. In comparison, Qin Zhao was more looking forward to hugging Sonnenfeld. "Paul, aren't you going to introduce this lady to me? This is my adjutant, Demi Sonnenfeld." Qin Zhao walked up to shake her hand, but Demi rejected him directly. When she'd brought her father home that day, she'd been asking him what was going on with Qin Zhao. However, her father refused to tell her. She still thought that Qin Zhao was bullying her father. Qin Zhao retracted his hand awkwardly and looked at Paul. "Paul, I want to know." Paul glanced at Demi and said, "Let's go to the tent." When he entered the tent, he saw that there were a few people in the tent, all of whom were soldiers. "Mr. Qin, I received news from my superior that an expert would come today. I didn't expect you to be the expert. Let's make it short. I want to know the specific situation here." Paul could feel that there was a gap between them. It was understandable. After all, he'd almost killed Qin Zhao that day. About 1 kilometer to the west of the camp, we found an underground building complex. The building complex was very large. We then sent 2 exploration teams into it, especially the second team, which was fully armed and equipped with the most advanced war weapons. But in the end, only 1 person came out alive. However, he was also seriously injured and died not long after. "So, did you confirm what creatures are inside?" "Not yet. We didn't find any." "What do you know about the situation inside?" "No." "Then what's the purpose of the military exploring the underground complex?" "No." Paul gave another negative answer. Qin Zhao sneered inwardly. "Exploring the underground complex without any purpose. Do you think I'm stupid? So, what problem did you call me here to help you solve?" "The problem we want Mr. Qin to help us solve is how to get our people in and out safely." "Sir, I think it's a waste of time." "He can't solve anything at all," Demi said unhappily. Everyone in the tent looked at Qin Zhao, who was crossing one leg. "I don't care what you think of me. My purpose for coming here will not change. I can explore the underground complex for you, but you have to pay the price." "What price?" Paul frowned. He didn't know how the higher-ups had found Qin Zhao. He also didn't know how Qin Zhao had cooperated with them. "You gave me 500,000 a day to be your consultant," Qin Zhao said. "Of course, it's only for 1 day." Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. $500,000 a day. Was he an expert or a celebrity? "My team and I specialize in dealing with supernatural creatures, so in this regard, we are more professional than the military." "Mr. Qin, have you encountered such supernatural creatures before?" Chen Zhao took out his phone and showed the photo to Paul. In the photo, the mother was in the second stage of mutation. It hadn't completely broken away from its human form and was crawling out of its skin. Chen Zhao put one hand on the mother's body and took a photo. "This is a supernatural creature that our team dealt with," Chen Zhao said. "Can this prove it?" Paul glanced at it, then glanced at the others to distinguish it. In the end, it reached Demi's hand. Demi's expression was full of disdain. "This is fake. It's clearly a Hollywood prop, or the photo itself is photoshopped." Just based on a photo, it was indeed hard to believe whether it was real or fake. "If it's real, why isn't there a single video?" Demi questioned. "For those who are hostile to me," Chen Zhao said calmly. "Any evidence I show will be treated as fake. Also, if I make a video, you'll say it's made with CGI." Paul could tell that Chen Zhao and Demi had a grudge. Otherwise, Demi wouldn't be so against him. "If I want your team to capture a living creature in this complex, how much will it cost?" $2 million. "What payment method do you accept?" "Cash." "Oh, $2 million after tax." "Sure. When can your team arrive?" "I don't need a team," Chen Zhao said. "Take me to the entrance." "Mr. Chen, this isn't a joke," Paul said seriously. "Our two groups all died inside." "I'm not joking," Chen Zhao said. "You just have to prepare $2 million for me." "Sir, if he wants to die, why stop him?" Paul's eyes flashed. "Mr. Chen, are you serious? I don't think it's more difficult than surviving 10,000 meters without a parachute." Everyone couldn't help but look at Chen Zhao. Surviving 10,000 meters without a parachute. Could he really do it? Of course, it wasn't completely impossible. If there was a large enough net that could continuously spread the impact of the fall, one could survive. Someone had once challenged falling 7,600 meters without a parachute. In the end, he landed on a net and survived. This is a real case. If you're interested, you can find this video. "Okay," Paul said. "Since you think you can do it, I'll accept the job." "Mr. Chen, what equipment do you need?" "A net." Soon, Paul prepared one for Chen Zhao. He put it in a backpack and handed it to Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao looked at the deep tunnel entrance. Waves of cold wind blew out from inside. Even though they were just standing at the entrance, the soldiers beside Paul were all on high alert. Their guns were pointed at the darkness, as if they were afraid that some monster would charge out of the tunnel. "Mr. Chen, are you sure you want to go in alone? And with only one net?" Just then, a beast-like roar came from inside, but it became a whistling sound outside. Everyone's expression changed. "Mr. Chen," Paul said, "the thing inside often makes this sound." Chen Zhao looked at the darkness. He could vaguely see the shadow of a beast, but he couldn't see it clearly because it was too far away. Chapter 947. Everyone watched as Chen Zhao walked into the darkness. Everyone thought that Chen Zhao was digging his own grave. They didn't know what exactly was inside. But they knew how dangerous it was inside. Two elite teams, fully armed, went in. In the end, only one went crazy and escaped. In the end, it wasn't injuries that caused the survivor's death, but fear. So, to them, Chen Zhao wouldn't be able to come out alive this time. Chen Zhao walked through the long and narrow tunnel and could see that. This should also be the ruins of an ancient civilization. Although Chen Zhao wasn't an archaeologist, the style here clearly wasn't the Mayan or Inca civilization that he knew of. Chen Zhao admired the reliefs along the way. In the development of the Mayan and Inca civilizations, their reliefs hadn't been outstanding. Most of what was left now existed in the form of murals. But these reliefs didn't have any content, or rather, Chen Zhao couldn't understand them. They looked like they were just decorations. In fact, when they'd first existed, they were for decoration, not to record anything. Chen Zhao touched the carvings. Suddenly, he noticed a patch of blood on them. Judging from the traces on the bloodstains, this bloodstain should have only been there for a few days. After all, the longer organic matter existed in the natural world, the more serious the decomposition. In the natural world, bloodstains would disappear completely in less than a year with the naked eye. Chen Zhao continued walking. The tunnel led downwards and the temperature got higher and higher. The water molecules in the air stuck to the skin, blocking the breathing of the skin and preventing the internal heat from dissipating. In such an environment, people would gradually become dehydrated, causing their energy to slacken and become delirious. This was a symptom of heatstroke. For people with severe heatstroke, their brain would die and they'd become idiots. Without protective clothing, humans wouldn't be able to survive more than 12 hours in such an environment. Even if there were no other creatures attacking them, they'd become weaker and weaker. Even well-trained soldiers, no matter how strong they were mostly only good at resistance and reaction speed. However, the environmental factors greatly weakened the reaction of these soldiers. Chen Zhao suddenly stopped and took out the net he'd prepared. A creature the size of a pig appeared before Chen Zhao. The creature's limbs were short and small, and its body was a little bloated. It looked like a pig, but its mouth was full of fangs, indicating that it was definitely a carnivore. This should be a modified wild boar. The creature charged at Chen Zhao. The beast was fast and strong. Chen Zhao grabbed the dog's upper jaw and flipped it onto the ground. The net in his hand also covered the beast. The beast let out a muffled cry that sounded like a wild boar. Just then, Chen Zhao felt more beasts coming out. They were all attracted by the wild boar's cry. Chen Zhao could sense that there were a lot of them. He grabbed the rope and ran out. The wild boar monster's cries became even louder. The closer it got to the exit, the louder its cries became. Chen Zhao was very fast, but when he was about to reach the exit, there was a gunshot outside. Chen Zhao charged out and looked at the two soldiers with submachine guns. Who fired the shot just now? The two soldiers glanced at each other. They'd thought that some monster had charged out. Plus, they were nervous, so they fired before they could see clearly. They didn't expect it to be Chen Zhao who charged out, and he was dragging a monster behind him. Sir. I'm sorry, Chen Zhao went up and punched the soldier. I'm sorry. The other soldier saw that his comrade was beaten and wanted to raise his gun. But on second thought, he realized that they were in the wrong, so he lowered his gun. Just then, the officers of the camp ran over. They'd heard the gunshots and ran over. They didn't expect to see Chen Zhao. Mr. Chen, you're still alive. Chen Zhao's face darkened. Do you know how to talk? Sorry, Paul said awkwardly. That's not what I meant. Chen Zhao glanced at Paul and Demi, who was standing beside him with a disappointed expression. I don't think he went in at all. He's just hiding at the entrance, Demi said. I caught this. Chen Zhao pointed at the wild boar monster in the net. Only then did everyone realize that Chen Zhao had brought something back. However, the wild boar monster had become very weak. The surface of its body was starting to dry up. A light-sensitive creature. Some creatures that lived in the dark for a long time would hate or avoid light. What's this? I'm not responsible for that. I'm only responsible for catching this creature and bringing it out, Chen Zhao said indifferently. Also, have you prepared my payment? It's just a strange creature and you want $2 million. Demi said in disdain. Chen Zhao looked at Paul. Is that your answer too? Mr. Chen, please give us this creature first. Sorry, I can't. Chen Zhao rejected Paul's request directly. I won't give it to you before I see the money. Demi snorted. This isn't a place for you to decide. Mr. Chen, I hope you can cooperate with us, Paul threatened vaguely. Chen Zhao smiled and gave him the middle finger. Mr. Chen, I'm asking you as a military officer to give it to us. The soldiers behind Paul had already pointed their guns at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao smiled. Are you sure you want to do this? When Chen Zhao went in, Paul thought that Chen Zhao was going to die. But when Chen Zhao came out and caught a creature, Paul felt that Chen Zhao's asking price was too high. Chen Zhao had caught a creature so easily and came out. Paul felt that Chen Zhao's operation wasn't worth $2 million. Chen Zhao glanced at the dying wild boar monster under his feet. It had a strong reaction to light and was already silent. Chen Zhao suddenly laughed. I can give it to you. Mr. Chen, I'm in a difficult position too. I hope you won't blame me. Of course not, Chen Zhao said with a smile. With a smile, Chen Zhao said, but you better be careful. Don't all die in this desert. Paul frowned. Looking at Chen Zhao's departing figure, he was deep in thought. Chapter 948. One of you, go and leave with him. Paul felt that Chen Zhao's gaze was very unfriendly before he left. Sir, let me follow him. Demi wanted to grab hold of Chen Zhao's weakness. Okay, you go. Paul nodded. Although Demi was in charge of administrative work, she'd actually gone through professional training. She kept following Chen Zhao and realized that he'd booked a room in a downtown hotel in Las Vegas. In the evening, she saw that Chen Zhao had come out to eat. Chen Zhao was eating in the hotel's restaurant. When Demi realized that Chen Zhao was staring at her, she knew that she'd been discovered. She didn't hide and walked up to Chen Zhao. Directly. Miss Demi, are we close? Demi sat down before Chen Zhao. I'll keep a close eye on you. Be careful. Chen Zhao chuckled. Are you going to come in and spy on me when I sleep tonight? Demi suddenly tried to grab Chen Zhao, but the next moment, Chen Zhao grabbed her hand and slammed it on the table. Demi's head was spinning from the beating, and her face was covered in blood. Girls, don't be too violent. Otherwise, it'll be very embarrassing if you get taught a lesson. Just then, the waiter walked over. Can you tell me what happened? Oh, she slipped and fell on my table. Look, she even messed up my dinner, so it's on her. Right now, Demi only felt a deep sense of humiliation. She thought that with her skills, she could easily teach Chen Zhao a lesson. In the end, she'd been defeated instantly and didn't even know how she'd lost. Demi stood up again and followed Chen Zhao out of the restaurant. Just then, Demi's phone rang. Demi, did that Asian do anything strange? Not yet, Demi answered. Keep an eye on him. Report immediately if there's anything strange. Paul was restless the entire day. Especially at night, he felt more and more uneasy. He kept feeling that something would happen. Paul looked at the entire camp. There were dozens of people. There were about 50 soldiers equipped with various levels of conventional weapons. This level of equipment was enough to support a small battle. Paul patrolled the perimeter of the camp. The underground relic was dangerous. However, there had never been a case of those creatures coming out. Therefore, the soldiers outside were more relaxed. Paul's expression could not relax. Demi had been monitoring Chen Zhao. She wasn't sneaky like before. Now she was being watched openly and blatantly. However, what she didn't know was that the Chen Zhao she was monitoring wasn't his real body. Chen Zhao's real body had already returned to the desert and sneaked into the underground ruins. The night was his best camouflage. This time, Chen Zhao went deeper. He wanted to confirm how many wild boars there were in the ruins. If there were enough boars, Chen Zhao would drive them out. This was Chen Zhao's revenge. If they slaughtered an army in broad daylight. Chen Zhao was powerful now, but he couldn't defeat an entire country. There were some things that needed to be done in secret. In the end, it was still a matter of strength. If there was a day when Chen Zhao's power could really reach a level where he could do whatever he wanted, Chen Zhao would be able to do whatever he wanted. Perhaps Chen Zhao wouldn't be as patient as he was today. Chen Zhao had always been very secretive, hiding in the shadows. This allowed Chen Zhao to go deep into the relic like there was no one there. Just then, Chen Zhao discovered a figure. When Chen Zhao saw the figure, he was also shocked. Crypt demon. There were crypt demons here. No, they looked similar to the crypt demons, but they were different. The bone shells covering their bodies were slightly gray and black. Were there different types of crypt demons? These wild boar monsters seemed to be reared by the crypt demons. Chen Zhao furrowed his brows, but this made him very happy. He had an idea. Chen Zhao hid in the darkness and searched for the female crypt demon. Suddenly, he discovered a few leather pouches that looked like they were wrapped in spiderwebs. Chen Zhao walked out of the shadows and opened them. It was a human, probably a soldier who'd come in earlier. But the soldier was completely dead. This should be the nest of some large spider. Chen Zhao didn't want to encounter something like that, so he immediately went back into the shadows. He searched in the darkness for a few hours. Finally, he saw the female crypt demon. Chen Zhao crawled out of the shadows. The moment the female crypt demon saw Chen Zhao, she pounced at him. Chen Zhao had been waiting for this chance. He grabbed the female crypt demon's neck and pulled her out. The other crypt demons realized that their mother had been caught. They immediately whimpered and charged at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao didn't want to fight. He dragged the female crypt demon and charged out. The entire relic was in chaos. The crypt demon commanded the boars to chase after Chen Zhao. What's that sound? There were still 2 soldiers guarding the entrance of the underground relic. They heard a whistling sound from the entrance. It's okay. It's your first time here. It's normal. Every night, there'll be weird sounds. I heard that it's time for the monsters inside to move. Just then, a figure suddenly jumped out. Who's there? It was just a punch coming straight at him. The 2 soldiers fainted and fell to the ground. Chen Zhao grabbed the female crypt demon, who kept struggling. But Chen Zhao was too strong. It couldn't resist at all. Don't be afraid, Chen Zhao said with a smile. I just need your offspring to kill all these people. The female crypt demon stopped struggling. She didn't have eyes, but she could feel and hear Chen Zhao's voice. It seemed to be able to understand Chen Zhao's meaning and began to whine. A long time ago, Chen Zhao had come into contact with the crypt demons 3 times. He'd realized that they weren't stupid. Their civilization level was low. They could even understand human intentions. If you can understand me, I'll let you go, Chen Zhao said. If you dare to go against me, I'll kill you right now. Anyway, there'll be a second queen in your race. The female crypt demon nodded. Chen Zhao let go. If it dared to escape, he'd kill it immediately. Just then, the crypt demons behind them also came out. The female crypt demon whimpered at the crypt demons and boars, as if she was talking to them. The crypt demons and boars started charging toward the nearby camp. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.